Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Good morning, everybody. This is the last Friday of the month. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
We were on the same page there today, Paul.
Yep. That is one movie about show business I find kind of tolerate. I don't like movies about movies. I have a prejudice against. Like a movie about a downtrodden writer like Barton Fink. I mean, I can only
adaptation. Yeah,
I can only take so much of the life of someone that no one else out there can even barely
relate to.
Thank you. Yeah, that's. Wait a second, I'm a movie writer. I can relate to that.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much of personal stroking of the ego.
Yeah,
and
well, coming from a normie, I like those.
Really?
So you guys are wrong.
Well, you're the normie to ask because Script and I are in the.
No, some of my favorites are stuff like. Well, I see. I didn't like the one more recently about the guy who wrote Citizen Kane.
You're talking about Orson Welles?
No. Well, Orson was in it, but it was about the other guy. With
the other movie about it.
The one that was it David Lynch who just did it like 2 years ago.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yes.
I didn't care for that one. Yeah, I can't think of the title either. It was just I didn't like that one as much, but otherwise, generally,
Mank, I think was right.
Yeah, Mank. Yeah, because I thought RKO 281 captured what really happened better, and I thought Mank was kind of like really one-sided. But anyway, that being said, no, I normally like those kind of movies. Like I loved The Offer. I could watch that over and over again.
I didn't see it, but my understanding is that it was more kind of inside industry.
A little bit more, but there is a big section of it about Francis and Mario writing it, and a lot of it's just Mario eating and Francis
you're also
writing.
Interested in the mechanics and the behind the scenes.
This is
machinery.
True. This is true.
So you're not a normie. You claim,
but I do enjoy things like when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm not a professional writer. I've written on stuff as a ghostwriter, but I've never actually been paid for it or gotten any goddamn credit.
What do you like movies about movies and writers and navel gazing?
No.
Okay.
I tried The Offer because I love The Godfather, but it didn't stick with me.
Well, that's too bad. Maybe that's why it just didn't take off. Well, speaking of, we have 6 here. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. I'm all a quiver about talking about He-Man or She-Ra. I don't know, something on some cartoon.
She-Ra's not in it yet, anyway. We'll see if they can pull that off. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the He-Man because I didn't even watch it. So it's going to be a very short conversation. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to eventually watch it. You got to prepare yourself mentally for this thing like a surgery.
Not only that, I mean, if you were to renew Netflix now, you'd have to renew midway February, which means you're not getting your full 30 days. So it's kind of a
Well, you do get your full 30 days, but then your renew date is in the middle of the month.
And then everything's just all out of order with your bill schedule. Yeah, you just
exactly.
Did they dump all the shows at once?
They dropped 5. See, this is how they do it. They do half a season.
Okay.
And then they dropped 5 now, and then they'll drop another 5 here in like a month or 2.
Maybe.
And
I don't know.
then,
I haven't seen any
I don't know.
announcement that they're doing 10 for this season.
I think they have them.
I mean, the way it ends, it doesn't end on a cliffhanger. It's actually a definitive ending.
I don't know. Unless they only gave them half a season for the second season, that'd be kind of funny.
Seems like it,
That would
because
be
I do
kinda
remember
funny.
with the first one, they did call it part 1.
Yeah,
And
well,
they don't do that here.
well, we'll see. But that is Script Doctor, as you hear there on the
Mm-hmm.
on the panel. If you're not watching, how you doing today?
Staying warm, pretty busy. Only have a limited time with you guys, but I'm going to try and make the most of it for you all out there.
It may not be so limited, considering we don't have a ton of topics today. There's a couple things to discuss, but not a ton. We also have the other half of our Canadian panel, Paul.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Good to have you. And Andre is here earlier than I thought. So we'll hold
Earlier.
off a little bit on one of the stories anyway. Well, the other story was one I figured we'd cover when you weren't here.
Yeah, well,
Because
first
you-
I just want to chime in and say I like Bowfinger. Other than and I also Bowfinger is amazing.
Yeah,
What
who
did-
That's
doesn't like
that's a
Bowfinger?
nice set.
I didn't know anybody said they didn't like Bowfinger.
No,
Whoever
no,
said
but
that means-
I get it. Going somewhere with
The
it.
inside baseball remark I made.
But also, and like Tom said, I haven't seen The Offer, but I know what it is, and that kind of thing, perfect, spot on. One can also make that Doctor Who thing, like an adventure in time and space, which is kind of like a movie version of the making of the first Doctor Who episode. That's fantastic. I love that kind of stuff. But beyond that, when Hollywood makes these basically self-referential movies about making movies, then I'm like, this is so arrogant to you guys. Like, have you any self-awareness? Okay, fine. Give me a movie about the plumber and his struggles, or an electrician or something. I'd be as interested in that.
Yeah,
Well,
but
the
they can't
the
relate to
dramas.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the closest thing we
dramas
got to
about
that
making
is
movies aren't
the
great.
animated Super Mario, where we had like some plumbing struggles.
I would say this: when they do a dramatic approach to the concept of making movies, they're boring. But if they make fun of the process of making movies, that's usually a bit more entertaining because they're kind of poking fun at the industry itself.
Yeah.
Like there's the one with Alec Baldwin and God, the guy from played Ferris Bueller, whose name is escaping me at this moment.
The guy who killed someone?
Matthew Lillard?
No,
Or not Matthew Lillard,
Matthew
Broderick.
Broderick.
Matthew Broderick.
Jesus, I just watched Godzilla the other night. I should know that.
Right. Matthew
I was having
Broderick and
an
Alec
issue.
Baldwin were doing a movie that's kind of based off a
Red
true story
Flowers?
with the FBI trying to, capture some the mob in LA by making a movie, and they're taking the FBI agent through all this stuff, and he's just laughing at how absurd the Hollywood industry is and how it functions. But then he gets pulled into it because he's fascinated by it.
Well, Get Shorty.
It's kind of like Get Shorty, but it was
Oh, I
not.
love
That
that
was
one too.
hilarious.
And I liked Hitchcock, and I love a lot of movies about making movies or shows. But I guess I can see where they're a little niche.
There's actually 2 Hitchcock movies. One with Anthony
Well,
Hopkins.
I like the
and,
Anthony Hopkins one. I'm not as big of a fan of the one with what's his face, the little Weasley guy from the Marvel universe, because that one is the Hitchcock family has completely disowned, and that's coming off of something that Tippi Hedren said.
Yeah.
Tippy was way too tippy.
I think she
You could
made
just-
most
you
of that
could just
shit up.
push her over.
That bitch lived with fucking wildcats, for God's sake. I mean,
I heard that.
well, and she damn near killed her kid because of it. Melanie Griffith had to get like fucking 20 stitches because of that shit.
And remember what we learned from Tiger King. The worst crazies of all people who collect exotic animals are the cat people.
Bingo. We're talking about exotic cats here, not like regular cats.
Yeah, no. Regular cats are perfectly fine. But it took 10,000 years of evolution to create your little neighborhood kitty.
Yeah.
Kitty, right? There's big difference between that and a jungle cat.
Yeah. Although I have seen plenty of videos where people like raise these cats from young, but it's not, it's only like one bad day
that
away.
only works until that one day when they're
Yeah,
hungry. Then
Exactly.
all bets
One
are
bad
off.
day away from something like the gorilla, or not gorilla, but the chimpanzee lady that had the chimpanzee that attacked her friend or whatever.
Well,
course,
how
then
many
you come to-
people? How many people can't even like scratch their kitty on the stomach without being attacked?
Well, that's a trap.
There's
I've
a
told you that before.
There's a difference.
know.
Because, with a little kitty, there is some there's some of course it can scratch and it can bite, but there is some level of limitation to how much danger it actually can put you in. There's
Exactly.
a limit to how injured
I don't know about
physically
that.
can be.
It may not be high, but the chances of your house cat killing you are never zero.
It's true, but you know what? My in-laws had a nasty cat. Still do, actually. It's old now, so it's kind of calmed down. But I would go over and Walt would just be covered in wounds. But he would always make excuses. Oh, it's just having fun. Walt, your nose is
yeah, that's
completely
what all
scraped to
victims
shit.
of like domestic situations.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah,
It's an abusive
just
relationship
abuse.
with your cat.
And then they just make excuses. Like, and we have another friend. My wife's best friend had an abusive cat. Oh, it's fine. No, it's not fine. You're
Like I said, the chances are never zero, Paul. Never.
You put a dog down for the stuff a cat gets away with.
You just have to decide what you're willing to put up with.
You're right, Script. Absolutely. You would put your dog down.
Yeah, it's true.
My cat loves me, but I guarantee you he will eat me if I die in this house. Okay? He's going to be the first one. In fact, he might be the reason I die. As I said, the chances are never zero because he's an asshole. He could get underneath my feet on the stairs and shit could happen. He'd be like, well, fuck, he's not going to feed me. I guess I'll eat a toe.
In 1400 AD, Attila the Hun, and one of his like 10th or 20th weddings, after the party, he got so drunk, fell asleep, and then woke up dead, covered in. Can't wake up dead, but I mean, so someone killed him. I think it was the house cat.
That would be impressive. That would
could have been the house cat. Well, and Siegfried and Roy, that's a great example. These guys worked with animals for how many years?
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's exactly what I mean. Like per kilo or per unit of pound, for those of you in the States, a cat is much stronger than a dog. So if you have an equal-sized cat and an equal-sized dog, the cat is always the stronger and more dangerous of the two.
More
it takes
flexible.
a bigger dog to take down a cat, right? And when those animals go up in size, they very quickly become a danger to you. I mean, like, and I'm of the opinion that you probably shouldn't have a pet that you couldn't take down in hand-to-hand combat.
Exactly.
Well, that's true of all these people I see with their dogs out and then they get them off the leash or something, and then they end up attacking somebody. It's like, you can't handle your dog, then first of all, don't take them off a leash.
Oh,
and like you just said, Andre, never get a dog that you can't handle.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. When you see like some like young girls that have that have like these huge Rottweilers. Rottweiler decides that he wants to go there. Nothing
He's
that
going.
Girl can do to
nothing.
stop him.
Nothing.
And that's kind of like what I mean. Yeah, I get that this thing is good for self-defense, but in a bad situation, you're the one that's going to need defending from it. So maybe as a general thing, do not have animals that you cannot take down in hand-to-hand combat. And this is especially true of crazy people that have chimps and stuff, because no good can freaking come from that. Like that one lady all her friends found out.
That was you, Paul.
Cute, but it's gonna grow up and it's gonna be stronger than you and by a massive freaking margin.
That's right.
Well, like I said, if I end up dead, I guarantee you it ain't gonna be Sadie. So
if you're not strong enough to restrain the dog, if you're not smart enough to train the dog, then you shouldn't have the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the thing with her. She's a shit guard dog. I guarantee you she'll just show the people where the good stuff's at.
She's not. We've heard her.
She will bark at wind, but if somebody comes in the door, it's all over then once they pet her.
If you have a stranger come in the door?
Yeah.
If they were to, I guarantee you, if a stranger walked in the door and started petting her, she would be their best friend.
Oh.
Yeah,
I always used to let my dogs go ape shit when somebody would come.
Well, she does, but she goes no matter what. She's constantly barking at invisible dragons and other shit.
Take her for a walk.
Well, she sees squirrels and she sees the neighbor cat.
She may see poltergeist.
She hates the fucking neighbor cat.
Well, here, our smooth fox terrier hated anyone in a uniform and would go after them. Don't know why. Just would go after people in uniform. And one time I was at my office and I would always brought my dog to work. I forgot to close the door prior to the mailman coming. And I hear this barking and I rush out of my office and there's our dog. And the guy's bleeding on his hand, but we found out later it was because he took a swipe at the dog and hit the dog's tooth. but that
Oh,
didn't
that's
matter.
cool.
I had to go through the post office recovery, blame. Police had to come over, I had to apologize to this guy 100 times. Finally, there was one point I said, how many apologies, do you want? It's my fault. I should have locked up the dog. And then the day the policeman came, I forgot to close the door on my office.
Oh, geez.
And my secretary comes in and says, Paul, the policeman's here. I go, fuck. Oh my God, the dog's loose. And I run out to our lobby. Our dog is on the couch. Its head is on the cop's lap, has fallen asleep. And the cop is going, this is the dangerous dog. I'm going, oh my God, the dog knew what to do. Like it actually went, hey, this is bad. I think I'm going to play. Like never in the history of this dog has it not barked at someone in a uniform. And this guy was fully uniformed as a cop. And
he probably recognized that he probably but dogs are smart, cats too, and this dog probably recognized that this uniform right here, unlike the others, this one means fucking business.
Yeah.
Yes,
he's got a gun.
But
He's
I got
win
off like everything was fine. I'm going, holy smokes, Alex, you brilliant dog! You knew how to play the role when you needed to play the role.
Yeah, that probably saved that doggy's life.
Only has to be right once.
You're right. Probably prevented him from getting put down. You're
yeah, no, I mean it. I
know. You're right.
That absolutely saved that dog's life, because that guy was coming there with the intention to look for any kind of excuse to take that dog away and put it down. And when he had evidence to the contrary, that's what changed the whole thing.
These animals are smarter
So,
than you think they are.
I know, and that dog was literally fighting for his life by being as cuddly as humanly possible,
Yes.
or doggy possible.
And Alex was not a cuddly dog. Like, it's amazing. Anyway,
Yeah,
there's my heroic story.
More tales coming soon on Midnight's Edge Wildlife Adventures.
Sadie's Tales, yeah.
You know what?
Tales.
Talking about animals will actually get you more people watching.
well, but there's so many kitty videos to compete with.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're right.
This is true. But we have a few super chats here. Let's get to those and then we'll get into some topics here.
Animal
We got
super chats only today, folks.
HyperGuyver2 sends in $10, says, no, it's not good enough. If Crybaby Kevin Smith expects fans to care this time, he's a bigger fool than I thought. He lied and gaslit us. That's unforgivable. Kevin Smith deserves nothing but failure. Wow,
Yeah, I
of course,
think
what
HyperGuyver
talking
2 has
about.
seen Masters of the Universe season 2.
I haven't.
So, yeah.
So
I have.
how involved was
I've
Kevin
seen the
this
whole
year?
thing.
Wasn't in the first year he was just a mouthpiece?
He was mostly, well, he had some contributions here and there for like the most obvious stuff, that at least that's my understanding, at least.
The
That
problem
most obvious
is
stuff and
Hold on.
references from the movies, that was him, and some of the jokes. But the core elements of the story were already in place
Okay.
long before he ever signed on.
and the other problem is he's never been a fan. Right.
Right.
I pulled up a bit from the show Comic Book Men that he was on, where he flat out says he's not a He-Man fan, never was.
Mhm.
And as I said, age-wise, he would have already been like 11 or 12 years old by the time He-Man was a thing, even beginning to be a thing. So by the time it was even popular, he was already a teenager. And then Clownfish and them guys, I think it was, dug up the tweet thing he put out where he had said he was at some Masters of the Universe art thing. He was never a fan, but he thought the art was cool. So I'm like, well, there you go. There's plenty of info about him not being a fan, but that's not the problem. The problem is he was presenting himself as a fan.
Yep.
And he's also taking all of his info from the guy named Ted Biacelli, who's this bigwig over at Netflix. And I've been doing a deep dive on Ted more than I have been watching this fucking show. And my God, is this dude a piece of work? He
Is
actually
this the guy who
claims that
quit?
no. Ted Biacelli is like
He's the actual showrunner.
He's
the
the
one,
actual
like,
showrunner.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Let me put it to you this way. There was a podcast he put out there where they talk about the shows that make them gay. And he claims He-Man made him gay. So this is the guy you have running this fucking show.
Which show made you gay, Tom?
Ninja
Beverly
Turtles made me
Hillbillies.
gay.
Okay.
I like turtles.
No. Like, that's just it. It's like, okay, so that's an exception to the rule. That doesn't mean that everybody who watched He-Man is gay because of it. So why are you the major influence on this show?
Unfortunately, because he's the Netflix representative, and Netflix is paying for the whole shebang, and
Yep.
he's one of their top guys. So if
He was even somebody
hey,
who was on One Piece, but I figured the only reason that worked out the way it did is because the original creator had a lot more say on it, probably.
exactly, like he's in all of their genre shows that he has some kind of involvement with. The big problem for the case of He-Man is that he had a personal affection for it because, as you found out, he credits this show with having made him gay. Of course, in reality, he was gay anyway. Maybe that helped him discover it. I don't know. But anyway, he credits it for that. And he wants to give something back to it. Give it his like personal touch, you know. And that didn't work out. So, like, for instance, one of his contributions was making all the women super buffed up, looking like dudes, or on steroids and everything. That was his contribution. I mean, Chato, have you seen this? Have you seen any stills of the? Okay, Tom, dig up a picture of Evelyn when she's all bulked up here, so we can see what.
I don't know if I have one on hand, but I'll see.
Well, I mean, if you have a combination of some women that look like, you know, bodybuilders with fake boobs, then, you know, but you can't have all the women looking like that.
They do have all the women looking like that.
Well, then that's just boring.
Yeah, there's like what, 3 main women or 4 main women characters, and aside from maybe the queen, they're all treated like manly men.
All of those 3 women, they look like the Eastern European Olympics team of women in the 80s, or the Eastern German one.
And there was no dialogue along the lines of, "Are those 2,000cc implants?" Nothing like that in there.
No, we should be so lucky.
Well, we also have joining us Mr. H of Mr. H Reviews. How are you doing this morning? Drinking your...
I'm good. How are you? It's evening for me, but yeah, I'm all right.
Well, you're probably not drinking coffee. Maybe you are, but good evening.
No, just peppermint tea.
Oh.
I'll keep it classy. It's good. It's nice. Sort of soothes you.
It's true.
Very good for your digestion.
And good.
How we all doing? We're good?
I've heard that.
We're
hanging in there. We're just getting started to talk about MOTU Season 2, and for Paul's enjoyment, here's all the lovely ladies of Season 1. Where to go? Oh, we both had it. The same exact
we
picture.
both put the same picture at the same time. Yeah.
It took me a minute to find it. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at
they all have guy arms.
Yeah, all of them. And notice also the haircut.
Oh yeah, the side shave.
Of the lesbian couple in the front there. And the redhead in the middle, like the one half of the lesbian couple, was always He-Man's love interest in the series up till that point.
Okay. Voluptua or something?
It was kind of like a rip-up of Red Sonja, so you might say that, but you see, of course, that they did do their best to cover up any lady parts there. So yeah.
Until this latest season, they don't.
Yeah. They did correct some things, but we'll get back into that eventually. I brought in Mr. H because I know that I saw from that you. I don't know if you've seen the entire series, but I know that
I've seen it all.
Oh, perfect.
Are you a He-Man fan?
Watched it this morning.
Are you a He-Man fan?
Generally, yeah. Like I like the original stuff. Yeah, I've sort of dipped in and out of it over the years, but I never consider myself like a rabid fan of anything, quite frankly. Because whenever you say that, people think that you can't criticize.
No, but I'm seeing a watcher. Like I never watched He-Man, had no interest, but I watched all the Sailor Moons. It doesn't mean I'm a Sailor Moon fan, but you know, I got into Sailor Moon.
Yeah, well, then I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I mean, I like it, but yeah.
His daughter hated Sailor Moon, though.
Whose daughter hated Sailor Moon?
Yours.
Why? She loved it.
No, I was making a joke. You got into Sailor Moon and your kid didn't. That's why.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So why don't we just right here, right now, get into the MOTU talk? I did not watch it yet, but Andre, Script, and Mr. H did. Now, you got to understand, I will give myself a coronary if I watch this, dude.
No, I can believe that, mate. I understand.
I just want to show one more picture to Chato here, what we're talking about.
Oh,
I got some
my.
One of the
pictures.
contributions of Ted
Jesus.
Biaselli, the one who has
God.
publicly admitted that this series made him gay. And he wanted to give something
It's
back.
making me gay.
Yeah. So
Petticoat
yeah.
Junction made me gay.
And speaking of gay, okay, so we got eyeliner He-Man here. So here we go. This is the new show.
I like
So
your
what'd you guys
sparkly
think?
background, by the way.
You're welcome. That was actually for last night, but yeah.
Let's begin with script, because you saw it as well. So just like before we do any like deep analysis, just like your very quick 30-second review. Was it an improvement, and was it good enough? Can it make up for the first season?
Well, I mean, it's mildly better. It has a bunch of cringe dialogue that's lifted literally from the Tim Burton Batman movie, which was stupid. But it had clever plot, simple plot, interesting direction for the characters.
Wait,
definitely
clever?
pulled on the heartstrings when it came to Adam and his relationship with his dad, which I thought was nice. So yeah, it was an improvement over the previous one. Animation was never a problem, so
that was never an issue. It's always the story with this one. It looks great and it sounds great. The problem was always the story and the script, never the look. Apart from how jacked up they are, that's a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Rage. Script clearly feels it was an improvement. What about you? And again, just very quick impressions. No deep dives just yet. Just quick impression. Yeah. Was it improvement? And does it make up for season 1?
So, yeah, look, it's an improvement. Hands down. Definitely an improvement. Does it make up for season 1? No. Inevitably, it depends where you sit on things in general. But I think that they would have permanently lost probably about 30% of the audience of season 1 that will just never come back.
I think you're optimistic if you say just 30%. I mean, this.
Yeah, well, I'm adding to it, so there'll be more people, like another 15 to 20%, that will check it out first or second episode just out of curiosity because they probably want to rip on it, and they'll either stay or go. So it'll be a similar kind of thing from that, but there'll be a good 30-odd% that have just noped out immediately. But yeah, it's definitely an improvement. There you go. My initial thoughts.
And as for me, my initial thoughts is much the same. It's an improvement. It fixed some of the issues from the first season, but then it doubled down on some of the others, because here's like the thing: there were many issues with the first season story-wise. People focused on 2 or 3, but there were like 5 or 6 that were really the problem. And while they fixed the first 2 or 3, they doubled down on the other 5 or 6, which was really, really lame. But, and here is where I think it's positive, and that is, I don't know that there's going to be any more or if it ends here, but I will say this: that the way that this thing ended, you have kind of concluded all of the stupid crap, and you leave the key characters in a place, and you set things up that if they were to do a season 3, and they get rid of all of the people that contributed to making these two what they were, get some new people in for season 3, you have the potential to pull the same thing that Terry Matalas did with Star Trek Picard in season 3, because the slate is kind of prepared for that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah. So it
in an annoying way, but
yeah. It fixes some things. Lots of stupidity and predictable things happen in between. They botch a few storylines, but they close them up too, leaving a perfect slate for a fantastic season 3 if they can get good people in.
Big if.
Big if. Big if, I know. Because that means you need to get Ted Biaselli the hell away from it. Will they be able to do that? That I very much doubt. But on paper, an amazing season 3 can be done for this.
Are we going balls deep on it now?
Yeah, sure. Let's go balls deep on it.
God, there was some bloody pointless crap in this show, wasn't there? Oh, my son He-Man, you can't be Adam and He-Man. Bollocks.
Yeah.
Bollocks. Of course you can. Of course you can.
Let's
Who
just
says?
explain
Oh,
very
he says.
briefly for those that haven't seen it, because that's kind of like the central conflict that Adam faces is basically that his father gives him a choice, which is that you have to choose. You can't be king while you are also the champion of Eternia. Those has to be two different people.
Yeah.
For absolutely no good reason at all. That's completely arbitrary.
Yes. Literally no point at all. There's no point that doesn't make any sense, because it directly contradicts his own ancestry, being king and the champion. Not only
King
that,
Grayskull for one.
Yeah, well, yeah. Not only that, it doesn't make any bloody sense, because he takes up the mantle. So he semi takes up the mantle anyway, and then by the end they dismantle the monarchy, have independence, and then yet they then vote in a democratic, selected individual, which will be that black woman who's man at arms. Yet everyone loves Prince Adam anyway, so surely he'd just be voted in. The whole and I didn't. What pissed me off about it so much, it didn't make any bloody sense, was when Prince Adam, or He-Man, same guy, goes to his mother. Do you think Dad would be proud? Yes, he was many things, son, but he wasn't a traditionalist. So, well, why didn't he dismantle the monarchy then, moron?
Yeah.
And there was no calls to dismantle the monarchy. No one was calling for the monarchy to be dismantled in the show. No one was like, "We hate you, monarchs. We hate you, kings." It wasn't there. There was nothing there.
It did not solve a problem. That's the thing. It was a choice for the choice's sake. It did not address a conflict or an issue.
Exactly.
And we're told about a character, and we're never shown anything to support that definition. Like, he was unorthodox.
So
well, at what point was he ever unorthodox? What example is something that he did that was not accustomed to that being of a king? And you can't just say marrying an alien, because there's all these different species on this planet. And, the legend is that, his father was with, another woman who gave birth to Caldor, which is also a part of this story here.
Oh, it was so lame. I
agree. That was the worst part of this whole thing, was that I'm doing a video on that right now, and I'm really going hard in on that really bad, horrible virtue signal ending, which only goes to show me, because that's my general complaints with this thing right here, is that I get the impression that the writers behind this series, they must be people that have spent their entire lives in a basement, living vicariously on a computer, but have no life experience outside of that. They know nothing about history. They know nothing about the history of monarchy. They know nothing about political science. They know nothing about anything other than what they have read in the Bible for this series right here. This is kind of like what I get from the series, because the stuff which is the best here are the stuff that are lifted from basically the Bible of the Masters of the Universe canon. That stuff is fine. It could have been done better, but it's there, so it's okay. But the moment when you have something that has any kind of like real world consequence, like succession and the responsibilities of being a king versus being a champion, something that you have many examples of in history that you could draw from.
Well, and as Mr. H even said, it's even in his own lineage, right? This is what I brought up the other day.
Yeah, even in their own lineage. So that makes it extra unforgivable. But especially this thing about the end, with like, oh, you just brought democracy to people that never asked for it or wanted it in the first place. You know how many times that has been done in our actual history and society, and it's turned out well? Not many. Much. Most of the time, that's a recipe for utter disaster.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that whole thing was very stupid. I see some people in the chat saying, "So how was it an improvement then?" Well, I mean, I would say it was an improvement because one, Tila's boobs are bigger than her arms, so they definitely, feminized the women again. Everyone was much more feminized.
Mm-hmm.
which was good. Like, you know, and I will say, you know, as much riffing on the whole King Randor, no son, you can't be king on the champion business.
King Randor is an idiot.
Yeah, well, as much as I'm ripping on that, the emotional connection between the two, that was done quite well, right? Like, yeah, it's a cartoon, so there's so much you can do in terms of how they're structuring it and what they're trying to do. But that was done quite well. The sort of He-Man fights were good fun. I enjoyed a lot of that. Some of it was a bit dumb because it got sort of supplanted here and there, but that's in the story. So it's like, you know, with Keldor, supplanted with Keldor in terms of Bennett, you know, doing. Can we talk of spoilers? I'm sort of beating around the bush.
I think we already did quite a bit.
Yeah, okay. So the initial fight scene where they bring one of the Titan mech things up and Skeletor's there and blah, 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 all these kind of things. And obviously Keldor, you know, saves the day, but it's built into the story. That's why, you know, it's supposed to happen. So it wasn't like him being bettered by Teela or any of the other plebs that sort of float around. So the fight scenes were better. Just generally, it was a much better show. It was less... Teela's not an insufferable douche, for starters. She was awful in the first show. She was a horrible person. Like, no appeal remotely as an actual character. So they've definitely gone back on a lot of things. But yeah, I just saw people saying, well, how was it an improvement? So I thought I'd just...
Well, I can tell you, you know, all the stuff that made the last Jedi horrible, they went back on those things, those in particular. I mean, Prince Adam was killed twice in the first season. He was killed no times in this one. He wasn't...
Well, he was killed once. He was stabbed twice. There's a difference. Like, he didn't actually die in the second time he was stabbed.
Okay, fine. So he was killed only once in the first season.
That's one too many, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He was killed one too many times. And still he yeah. So basically that is the improvement. And this kind of like the point that I was making earlier, that people were so fixated on that in the first season that they missed all of the other things which were really, really lame and stupid and alone should have killed the whole thing. Like, for instance, how heaven and hell are physical realms that you can go to. And that is what they followed up here and even doubled down on. But on the bright side, now when that storyline is closed, never needs to be brought up again for a possible season 3. Then you can just start with where the characters are right now, continue with what was set up, and you have the potential for an amazing season 3. Potential. Just like Picard. Just took 2 horrible seasons to get there.
Yeah, I think it's a season too late.
This? Just why didn't they do this from the start? What idiots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God. It annoys me so much. It annoys me so much. Why can't they just do it from the start? It's not hard.
If this had been the first season, this franchise would have been in a much, much better place right now. But I don't know that it can recover from that first, well, not even the first season, but season 1, part 1. Because season 1, part 2 never trended anywhere. Season 1, part 1, that was huge. That was like in the top 10 on Netflix all over the world. Trended on Twitter, trended all over social media. Not for long, just for a weekend. And then when season 1, part 2 came, nothing. No one cared. Everyone was over it. How many care for this? I'd be very curious to learn about the ratings here and what kind of a success this possibly can be.
It didn't even trend.
That's what I was thinking. And
I mean,
can blame that on this picture right here on screen.
Well, and honestly, you guys are explaining this though, and I'm, a huge MOTU fan too. To me, none of the things you're talking about are really turning me on to the show, right? Like, there's a few things in the trailer, like, oh, sure, I love Gwildor. I want to see an animated version of Gwildor.
He was so lame.
But that's just it. Everything is so lame in this so far. Nothing in this is really making me go, yeah, I want to return to this for a second season because it might be better. I don't care. It already fucked everything up in the first season.
Yeah, so...
And this is Masters of the Universe. You could have done so much with this.
Well, that's one of the annoying things about this show. So, just to sort of clarify, if I didn't do my channel, I wouldn't have gone back and watched this, right? Because I do the channel, I've gone back and watched it. But I would have been like you. No, I'm not bothered at all. But I obviously have to watch certain things. But the other annoying thing in the show itself was their sort of bizarre, like, it's just misguided focus on to be the master of the universe. They're consistently focusing on masters of the universe, masters of the universe, masters of the universe. And that's the sort of thing that they're doubling down on. And it corresponds to the rhetoric they're spinning in interviews. Well, you know, how everyone's a fan of the masters of the universe. No, people were fans of He-Man, idiot. They liked the masters of the universe, you know, the other people. But they were fans of He-Man. They're like He-Man. They want He-Man. Not the plethora, the litany of the masters of the... No, it's He-Man. Yeah. I don't understand where this is.
I don't even know what they showed
so
Kevin
much.
Smith. That's the thing. Because all they had to do was sit him down with the 2000 series and go, do this.
I would have sold everything.
Because that series is basically what Andre and I have been saying they need to do for the movies. Is just literally sit down, whoever's making the movie, and go, here you go. Make this into a trilogy.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And all that is about Keldor trying to reclaim the throne, Adam learning of his birthright and who Keldor is, and then them finally having a big battle. Like, that's pretty much all you got to do for the 3 films. And then you tease at the end of the 3rd film, you know, She-Ra coming back because you start off the entire show with, you know, the kidnapping of the twins and Skeletor turning against or Keldor actually turning against
Hordak,
and then being
you're saying is
deformed
actually in these 5 episodes, Tom.
But how do they actually handle it? That's the thing, because everything they've done so far
good enough.
That's my point.
It was handled a million times better in the 2002 series.
Well, the 2002 didn't even get to the kidnapping of the twins part, but yeah, the 2002 series was handled better. However, you can't just copy that without paying a bunch of the people who worked on that 2002 series first. So if you're saying do this, you have to basically pay out another set of writers, another creative team, in addition to the new team you've hired to emulate that.
But pay them, it'd be worth it.
You think it would be worth it, but studios won't view it that way.
Unless they own the rights to the story regardless, and they don't have to pay jack shit.
Which that's what I'm curious about. Do.
Because the only ones that stood out as far as outside things in the MOTU universe were Orko, because he was created by Filmation, but they got the rights to him as far as I know now. And She-Ra was always separate.
Some kind of licensing or something has happened behind the scenes there.
Well, and as Script has pointed out, DreamWorks worked with Netflix on the show. I'm sure some checks could be cut, because just like they did for the Masters of the Universe origin line, we got She-Ra and She-Ra only. So we'll see. I mean, at this point, She-Ra's kind of a dead franchise unless that Amazon show is actually going forward. The live action one that was talked about, 3 years ago now?
We haven't heard anything more about
They had a cartoon, didn't they, on Netflix? They have a cartoon?
They did on Netflix, but that's already been done now for a while. But they announced a live action She-Ra She-Ra series on Amazon a while back.
Jesus. All over the show.
Because she's technically a separate entity, because she was co-owned by Filmation and Mattel when she was created, because Filmation co-created her. Much like they did, they created Orko and stuff.
Yep. And then Gwildor's from the movie.
Gwildor's from the canon Warner Brothers, so I don't know who owns that. Yeah.
But they got the rights to that, and they even allude to that story being part of this version of Adam and Co.
Which makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Oh, it doesn't have to for these.
Because in that version, there is no Prince Adam. He's just fucking He-Man.
We never saw a Prince Adam.
Well, they never even talk about him. Like, he's completely non-existent.
Yeah, because there's no reason to talk about him there.
Well, it's just the way they imply it is there is no. Because remember, that version couldn't be based on the Filmation version. It had to be based on the mini comic version or whatever.
Yep, from the toy and mini comics. Yes, that's what it was based on.
And the toy and mini comics didn't adapt Adam until later into the deal after
They
the
had
cartoon
by
had
that
been
point,
popular.
though. They had, so that was a creative.
They had,
choice
but that doesn't mean they
now.
necessarily owned that. That's my point, and this is where it gets all convoluted and why these stories have always kind of been wonky. And this is what I hated as a child, because you'd have stuff that was, you know, if it was Filmation related, then it did have the continuity of the TV series. But if it wasn't, if it was just something that was licensed from Mattel, then they couldn't have any of that stuff. Like I would get storybooks and stuff sometimes, and I'd be like, "What the hell is this? This isn't He-Man. Where's Prince Adam? Where's Orko? Where's Cringer? Where's, you know, other characters and events and stuff that have anything to do with the story, like the King and stuff like that? Nothing had nothing to do with any of that stuff. It was more like He-Man the Barbarian."
Yeah.
He-Man the Barbarian. I love it.
It was.
That's how it started. For real.
Yeah.
But
And
anyhow,
it started off a pure Conan ripoff with when he was a barbarian, coming in from his tribe, finding stuff in a cave, just like Conan did.
Yep.
So yeah.
But I know we're going to be losing Mr. H soon, and there's a few people who are upset about spoilers. So why don't we put a pin in the He-Man discussion for now? I'll try and watch it this weekend, and maybe Andre and I'll do maybe we'll drag script along, or whoever else wants to do a full-on roundtable for it.
You can blitz it real quick, guys. It's not that long. It's only 5 episodes. They're only like
I will, but
20,
you have to understand, this is like
minutes.
trying to give yourself a shot for me, okay? It's just like...
We didn't even get into that, but we'll save it for the video, because that's a plot in the movie.
It is.
I heard something along those lines.
Yeah, it is
in fact, I think that is a perfect place to get back into Super Chats, because I believe that's what Callum Lyle is discussing here. For an Australian 5, says, I know the Black Token sidekick gives vaccinations, so it's a black girl's fault for tech zombies. Oh, there's zombies in this? No.
No.
No, they're
I thought
Borg.
that wasn't allowed.
They're
Oh,
Borg.
same difference.
Yeah.
There are no more zombies than the Borg are zombies.
Yeah, it's a plot by Caldor that he manipulates people to fall for it.
Yeah.
And Callum Lyle sends in another 5 and says, and some are in complete denial about the leaks and lies from part 1, even denying that 2002 in the CGI series happened. I saw Clownfish's review. How can you deny that the 2002 series happened? That is the greatest iteration of the He-Man.
Oh, they did that when the first season came out. Then they said, like, for the first time in 40 years, He-Man is back. You know, 20 years is always also a long time, but they did reboot it 20 years. You're going to have to really work hard to do better than that.
This show could have done what that did, it only more, right? Because I love the 2002 series. As I've said, that's the best story iteration, characterization
ever. Yeah.
What have you of He-Man. But the one thing that show does do that I don't like is that it takes too much anime influence, and everything is way too busy. Like all the costumes, it's over-designed, and it's just way too much going on.
Too many somersaults for no apparent reason.
Yeah, and a lot of that kind of stuff. So if they took the design elements and stuff like that of this MOTU and put it with that storyline, I could die a happy child.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mr. H is going to die unless we.
I know. So, all right, Mr. H, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
we get to hang out with you on
Cheers,
Tuesdays
guys.
and
Sorry.
Thursdays as well on your channel. So.
Sorry, I can't say anymore, guys, but enjoy the rest of it. Bye now. Bye.
Take care. So yeah, but just to defend the black girl who administered the treatment, it wasn't her fault because she trusted the science, and the science said it was safe and efficient.
Is that a little too on the nose, though? But anyway,
I have no idea, but that's literally what happens.
Let's wake up Paul and stick a thumb up his bum. Dr. Longdongler's got one here for him for £1.99. Thank you, Dr. Longdongler. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Share out the link. Let everybody know we're live.
I told you I was going to blink.
I know, but I got
something
to wake. I got something to wake you up. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm here. I'm here.
STR Red Will sends in $5. Says, "Hail all! Just heard Hollywood Reporter that George Carlin estate is suing folks behind the AI imitation video.
Yeah,
about time they did so. Well, these things take time, and actually, that's the story I had for Paul. So yeah, as we discussed last week or the week before about
Yep.
the whole George Carlin AI thing, and I at least was saying I hope that his estate and family goes after him because this has got to stop. And this kind of also comes on the heels of Taylor Swift making threats that she may seek legal action against these AI generated images. So
Well, hers were about her doing porn.
well, yeah. So here's my thing though. Like Hollywood couldn't get this shit under control. They probably should have been ahead of this a while ago. But do you think now maybe this Taylor Swift incident and this George Carlin thing might get some changes made? And if not, I just want to get you guys' reaction to his family going after this AI George Carlin.
This is the first infringement on an individual human being for essentially profit. Other stuff has been done amateurly. This is this one they're going to argue it's amateur, but it's infringing on the intellectual IP at such a degree because it's not George Carlin tells a 1-minute joke. It's here's an hour-long special of George Carlin, which doesn't sound like George Carlin and doesn't line with the philosophies of George Carlin, but it's being advertised as such, even though when they repeatedly say, I am not really George Carlin. But I don't think it's I think it's the first time where it's legitimately now infringed upon an actual estate and could compromise a reputation at a level that we haven't seen before in this manner. And that's why you're getting some actual movement against it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that I pointed out that day is that I don't even know where their views are setting right now, but I knew once it started getting write-ups and people started learning about it, that video was going to go viral. And we all know that a video makes money on YouTube. So once there's money involved, and like Script said, I totally agree with that. If it was like a little few minute bit, I don't think we'd be having this conversation or had that conversation that day, really. But this was an entire hour-long special being presented as the idea that this is what George Carlin would do if he was still with us. And granted, as many times as they say he's AI in the special, I don't think it's going to matter.
Right.
Because it's an hour-long special and they're profiting off of George Carlin. So that's what I think the problem is. And I think that's going to be their argument here. But yeah, so Paul, what's your reaction to this?
So I did some research, as in I just Googled something right now. That's the extent of my research. It has hit 500,000 views, which isn't going to make them a ton of money.
But it's going to do a little bit. It's enough that it will keep generating. And
yeah. Again, it depends on what the rate is. So I articulated basically the same thing that Script just mentioned, and just for the sake of repeating it, because that's the fun thing you do on YouTube is take someone's ideas and just repeat them for yourself, because that's how things work here. The main problem was it wasn't parody, and it's an hour long. And no matter what kind of amulet of protection that the individual has on it, saying, hey, this is just a tribute to him. No, you can't do that. And I'm glad that they're suing. It's going to be an interesting case. It's also something that YouTube has to deal with because their intellectual property law or condition, whatever you want to call it, is really about a previously uploaded piece of work that they can compare it to and use their algorithm to say, oh, no, this video already exists on the system. YouTube doesn't even work when people bring in TikTok videos like that wretched Sniper Wolf, and then she makes this, video making vapid cat noises to it, and then gets millions of views out of it. That's not a copyright claim on YouTube, because that video does not exist. The original does not exist. It exists on, it doesn't exist on YouTube. It exists on TikTok. So YouTube is going to have to expand this whole copyright business. They also have to fix their present copyright business, because there's no punishment for an individual who is harassing someone. There's no punishment for an individual harassing someone for false copyright application. But in this case, what do they do? I don't think there's anything in their bylaws that indicate that you can't do this.
Well, in reading this here, the cleverness of their suit and where I think they're going to win this is they filed it in federal court, California federal court on Thursday. The plaintiff is seeking court order for immediate removal of the special plus an unspecified amount in damages. The lawsuit alleges that the company infringed on copyright by using Carlin's material to train the chatbot without seeking permission or licensing. Right there is, I think, where a lot of this stuff is going to stand. Because that's the thing, to be able to do these AI things, as Script and I have talked about in the past, they don't create anything. It's technically simulated intelligence. It's just taking what came before and reconfiguring it in a way that appears to be new to us, right?
Okay, but that's a tough one.
It's not creating anything new, though. It's just taking things from the past.
The writing is all new.
But I'm still not convinced that the machine itself came up with that. I still wonder if it wasn't the two comedians that are behind this channel that didn't write that shit.
The issue is, I believe that the content was newly written, maybe aided with AI, maybe, but it's all original material. So they're not going to get them on that.
But they used copyrighted material to do it. That's the point. Even if they're presenting it in a way that it's...
Yeah, but that's a tough one. I mean, they used copyrighted material. Well, I mean, to get his voice, the AI, I believe, was what generated his voice, his identity. That's really what they're going to be going for. But the content, you don't have to change content very much. And also, part of the problem is that there is the situation where, and I don't know what how to describe it properly, but great minds think alike. There's two people can come up with the same joke. I mean, I was on stage and I wrote a joke. Doctors say that, if you use Viagra and your erection lasts longer than 2 hours, call the doctor. And I said, are you kidding? I'm going to call everyone. And then I did that for a couple of months until someone said, oh yeah, some other comic is now using that gag. And I just stopped. I mean, it's an obvious thing. Two people came up with it. I mean, it's jokes are hard to copyright, but the performance claiming that this is a tribute to George Carlin and George Carlin has come back to life, and now they're going to make money off of that. I think that's really the crux of their argument, but they're not going to win on content. I'm sure these guys who are involved with this this is their own material, or they would be dead in the water. I mean,
well, they're going to have to. We're going to have to find out in the court case, because if that is the case, that's going to be one of their only arguments, is that they did write this, but they're still caught under the condition that they sold it as a George Carlin special. So no matter what they did,
a tribute.
But the point also is that they used his old specials to create either the voice or to train the bot in that situation. I think that's where, in the future, this is my argument, or at least the point I'm making, is that I think in the future, that's where a lot of this stuff is going to hinge. They're not going to be able to do a lot of this AI stuff without infringing on previous copyrights, regardless if the AI is generating quote unquote new material or not, since it's actually not actually generating anything new.
Well, they're lucky. They're somewhat protected in that they didn't take a picture of George Carlin and actually had George Carlin fake the routine. So that they didn't do. They have a bunch of AI generated images that were so wretchedly awful. I had to stop watching the screen and just listen to the routine. They could be sued for having really bad AI drawings on it. It will be interesting. I think it's worthwhile. When you do make a case, Tom, obviously this, you got to throw everything at the wall. You can't leave any stone unturned. So who knows how many of the things that they're throwing at this are going to just go, well, no, this doesn't count, but this one does. They have to do that. They have to go after every single opportunity.
Well, yeah, and this kind of also leads us into the Taylor Swift thing. Like, I think that one's going to be a bit stranger, because it's not that anybody's necessarily profiting off of those images. It's her likeness. And I guess this is where, and then, like I said, this is where I feel like the government and Hollywood has already failed people on this already. And how far is this going to go, and where is this going to get to, where we get to like a point where AI is so good now where somebody could bring a case against somebody and have audio recordings of them, and it's clearly not them, but how can you defend that without proving that it's AI? Right? Because it's gotten that good.
And the other thing too, in most of these suits is, has it affected your ability to create income? And has it stolen money from you in some ways? So
Yeah,
the
it has to
Taylor
prove damages. Yeah.
prove damages. And the Taylor Swift thing, oh, I'm fairly certain that this is an embarrassment to her, but it's certainly not going to affect her business.
That is true. There have been lawsuits with regards to some smaller celebrities suing people who have done deep fakes of their image onto other products, and because they were not being moved for financial means, and the plaintiff could not prove actual damages done to their reputation or their ability to get work, they were summarily dismissed.
That's the
That doesn't
Americans
mean
are
that they're not
very
going to be
strict
kicked
on
up to
that.
the next level of courts, you know, as they go. But the first earlier rulings have actually said, no, there's nothing here yet.
But the George Carlin thing, like I said, that's why I wanted to look it up. They have 500,000 views, so they've made money. That's going to be problematic for them.
That's right.
Well, and here's my point too with Taylor Swift. She's somebody who's big enough to actually swing and sway legislation in her favor, right? Now, George Carlin may not be, especially since he's no longer with us, but she is somebody who is powerful, who does have
Well, you know, like what's her name
influence.
from Harry Potter? I mean, every once in a while you come across a nude version of Emma or whatever her name is, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, but that's been going on for
Emma
like 30
Watson.
years.
Emma Watson. Yeah. So isn't this the same thing? Isn't the thing with Taylor Swift kind of the same thing, but an AI version of it?
Yes,
Sort
essentially.
of, but see, the AIs already protect certain companies and people, so I'm not saying that they won't turn around and just protect her at the end of the day. But what she can do is turn around and sue a bunch of these, and she's got the money and time to do it. Sue a bunch of these AI companies that are generating companies that are making this shit.
Yep.
See, and that's what I'm saying. It'll go from there, and then there's enough people that she has enough, you know, friends and people that she probably knows politically that can probably start getting some. This is what I'm saying. She is somebody who I think could actually get the ball rolling on some kind of legislation on this thing.
But that does exist. If she's going after the AI generators, she can say, "I own my image. You know, I am my brand." That will work.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So you don't need a law for that per se. It's there. She can just go to the AI generators and say, "You're going to have to stop letting people generate versions of me because that's not me and I own me." That can be done.
Mhm.
Just that simple.
Well, let's go to the next level here. Let's go to somebody who's not a celebrity. Like I said before, what if there's like some child custody case or a domestic dispute case or even a murder case? And AI is used as evidence. And how do you prove that now? Right? Because stuff has gotten so good.
Oh, yeah.
That
I'm seeing videos of Biden and Trump saying really stupid things. I can't believe it.
Well, those are actually real.
Yes.
You set me up for that one. I know.
Yeah, I
Yes.
know.
No, but in actuality, how long do we get before we do have a president that's calling for World War III in an AI video and people take it seriously?
Yep. Oh, yeah. No. We've all been concerned about where that's going, and yeah, it's going to be.
And I don't
scary.
want to stifle creativity, but I'm scared of where this could go.
So the problem is not going to be the American-based AI companies. The problem is going to be companies out in China or any other place that has no interest or there's no way for the long arm of the law to reach them. And people will use their systems to generate these things. There's nothing they're going to be able to do about that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what was brought up last night when we discussed this a little bit, because we were just talking about the Taylor Swift thing. The George Carlin news came in later. But even there, we were just kind of talking about like, yeah, the things, the ones that are going to be dangerous aren't even the ones that you can go on Google right now. It's going to be ones somebody makes in their own basement that you're not going to be able to trace, that you're not going to be able to tell is an AI in any way, shape, or form. Sure, the images and the audio still isn't quite perfect, but we are on the cusp of that. And that's where I'm like, I wonder if now's not the time to start worrying about this a little bit. And I know people in the industry are a little worried about it on both sides of the equation. And I know we're losing script here soon, so I don't know if there's any more you have to say about this. But I mean, at least coming from the writing standpoint, I know you guys have addressed AI quite a bit, but I would think the actors would be a lot more worried and the voice actors would be a lot more worried about the AI right now than anybody.
They were, but they did not have the best team on their union to negotiate parameters that protected them as well as what we got over on the NBA. We have 2 tiers of language that prohibit non-humans and artificial intelligence from being able to generate or create work without full disclosure. And at the same time, it can also be easily discarded. And that's in the eventuality that in some sort of distant future, AI is able to convince people of almost personhood, and then they get the right to be equated to personhood, and then are able to do all the jobs that people can do. In the current contract for the WGA right now, even if that were to be the case, it would not allow them to be considered candidates for writing and being produced within the studio system as it stands today. So that's the one thing that the writers got right and ahead of, which they should have, because again, a lot of these people are science fiction writers. They're supposed to think of these abstract and strange ideas when it comes to the future. But the fact that SAG didn't do this, they're the ones that are going to suffer for a while, and they'll have to address those concerns during the next round of renegotiations. And I would not be surprised if they had to go on strike again because of the some of the shortfalls that they made this past year.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'll definitely be paying attention to the George Carlin case, of course. Six, you've been awfully quiet. Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead, Paul.
No, I was going to say, Six, go ahead.
I was going to see if she had anything to say about it since she's been pretty quiet. She may have stepped away.
Quiet. I think AI will be useful for looping the odd line here and there for an actor that doesn't want to come in again because they're in Mallorca filming something and they don't want to go to LA. AI will do a brilliant job of looping a voice for a couple of words.
Is that opening a Pandora's box, though, Paul?
Because it is. Because
we live in a day and age where you could set somebody up in almost any condition and do a perfect, like right where I'm at right now, I can do a voice loop. Right.
Yeah. No,
I
I'm talking about just like a lot, maybe a line, a word.
That's what I'm saying. You could grab somebody, pull them into a quick booth somewhere, wherever they're at, and just have them record it with a laptop and a fucking decent mic. Like, it's not like it used to be to where it was impossible.
No, but matching the lips is a bugger. I've done it.
I get that. But you send them the clip via email. You can do, that's what I'm saying. You can do this shit so easily remotely. I don't even see the reason why you should have to use it.
Not many actors are very good at looping.
Yeah, it takes hours.
Well, then you're still going to have the problem no matter which way you go.
No, not with AI.
Well, then the actors need to worry about it then.
Did you see the speech by the Argentinian president where they live AI presented him and had him speaking in English in his accent, and they redid his lips so it looked like he was speaking in English?
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Well, as an actor, I'd be worried about this. And I would just go to the extra effort. That's what I'm saying. Then quit being so fucking lazy. Quit being so bad at dubbing.
Right. But they're terrible at dubbing. Trust me. Very few North American actors are good at dubbing. But script, do you think actors would just completely out of hand be scared to death of something like that?
If they want to work regularly, yeah, because eventually what's going to happen is there's going to be another system in place where they are licensing out their image and voice and not actually working or doing a craft. And somebody's going to be manipulating a performance out of them that they are not going to be happy with, no matter how much money they get as a result.
True.
Because that performance could compromise them from getting other work somewhere else because they're like, well, that was a bad performance, but that's what the director and the producers wanted. And that's what they're stuck with. You have no control over your image or voice at that point when you start licensing it out indiscriminately for quick cash. The only people that are really going to be happy about this, that take advantage of it, are the beautiful people that have an okay sounding voice but have no talent at all when it comes to acting. The ones that would never make it in Hollywood beyond a couple of movies, either in supporting characters or background, they will definitely want to seize on that because it's the closest thing they'll get to fame and fortune. But the actual talent, the people that would actually inspire us and make us want to go see these stories, they have everything to be afraid of, and justifiably so.
Yeah, I mean, once you've let them ADR something, just a few words, then someone will go, can we just let us do a line? Oh, by the way, can we just do this entire page? It'll just get bigger and bigger. By the way,
The
you
whole
stay home.
monologue. Yeah.
I mean, what?
The whole monologue. Do the whole monologue.
Yeah, you could do American Ferrera's monologue.
Better yet, just cut the whole damn thing out.
Oh, there's that too.
But then you're not making fun of feminism.
That's right. I was in tears. That was so beautiful, that model. Yeah, it's going to be and then you've got dead actors whose estates want to make money from them, and they're
Right.
going to go, yeah, here, use them.
All right. Well, let's see what the audience is talking about. We got Psychotic, who's been here for 16 months. Thank you for the patronage. We got Patrick Robinson, who sends in $4.99 and says, Roadhouse remake looks great. Pissed it's not going to theaters. I think it looks like ass, Patrick.
I think it looks great. I loved it. I love the trailer.
Have you seen the original?
No. That's with Swayze.
Yeah, and they made. I'm not even gonna get into this.
They incorporated UFC, right?
Yeah,
Or
MMA.
They made the Sam Elliott character a black lady.
Oh.
Yeah, the lady from The Daily Show, who's not a very good actor.
Oh. But Gyllenhaal's a good actor, so you're going there to see Gyllenhaal, right? And McGregor, I think,
Swayze.
is the well, he's also Gyllenhaal, I think, is bigger than Patrick Swayze.
I don't give a shit. He ain't no Patrick Swayze. That's all I'm gonna say.
He's not a dancer. I don't know. I mean, Roadhouse is supposed to be a seminal movie. I mean, is that up there with Mask of Zorro?
It's a man's movie, okay?
Okay. I don't know. I thought it was kind of entertaining with the added twist that the guy in the ring he lost to is the guy who comes to deal with him at the Roadhouse. I think that's kind of a neat twist. He gets to fight the guy that took him out of the ring.
I don't know. I'm just watching the trailer and I'm just
Put a ticket in and make her name it gay.
That's all I could think of.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, there's some bits of it that weren't too bad, but I'm like thinking like a lot of people were, why couldn't this have just been its own thing? Why didn't they just make it its own thing?
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, why not?
Because the MMA part of it is original. Like that's not.
Yeah, it is totally original. Yeah, you're totally right.
The rest of the movie is just a ripoff of the original film. It's like if you'd have just changed it from him being a bouncer for a Roadhouse to something else that's similar, then you could have done your own original product. But
yeah, that movie, that's 40 years old, man. That's still in my memory. I think I'll go watch the new version. It's stupid. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Well, the original film is held in high regard by a lot of guys.
But
like it's one of those movies that your dad loves, right? Like it's just
you got three things: fighting, Gyllenhaal, McGregor. Like those are good things on their own. Why not sort of craft your own version of Roadhouse without calling it Roadhouse?
Well, and there's an argument to be made for that because I griped about the Child's Play remake. I'm like, the problem with the Child's Play remake is that they keep reminding you that it's a Child's Play remake. Had they taken all the stuff that was original in it and made their own movie, like, oh, I don't know, Megan, then maybe it would have been something unique and original. And that's exactly what happened a year later or 2 years later with Megan. And Megan did infinitely better than Child's Play remake did because nobody wanted to see a remake of Child's Play.
Well, I mean, we know that we're not up to Roadhouse 8. You know, we know.
No, that's true too. But at the same time, Roadhouse was a one and done. They did a straight to video sequel that failed miserably. And nobody asked for it, and nobody asked for a remake. It's kind of like the whole Point Break remake or the Red Dawn remake. And yes, I'm picking those specifically because Patrick Swayze was in those too.
Yep. Keanu was in one of them.
Yes, he was. But what makes you think that anybody's going to embrace these anymore?
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah. I mean, the Zorro remake with Antonio Banderas made more sense because Zorro is kind of a serial but I mean, the second
we hadn't had a Zorro movie in forever at that point either.
Well, I mean, yeah, and
Zorro
I didn't see the second one. I hear it was wretched, but the first one.
It's because Alex Kurtzman wrote it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Because the first one I saw it yesterday. It was just so much fun. I didn't realize it was kind of a Indiana Zorro.
It was perfect timing. It had been a while since we'd had a Zorro. Zorro was already a character that had
It was really well
other
done.
versions previously.
Really fun, great evil bad guys, sneering bad guys, and Jones was just luminous in it. So,
and that is why I say Antonio Banderas should play Ramirez in the Highlander remake if they're listening.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
I totally
for those who are looking forward to Roadhouse, because I know this kind of got like a split reaction because I posted the trailer. I've been warning people that this was coming, and some people are like, "That's a thing." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really coming. It's happening." When I posted a deal about it, God, what was it, 6 months ago now? Whatever it was. And then the other day I got the poster I posted, and I'm like, the trailer's supposed to be coming tomorrow, and sure as shit it did.
And it's only on Prime. They're not even putting this in the theaters. Like what? Like stop it. They need to stop doing that. It doesn't matter how shitty the film is. Put it in the goddamn theater. It's just dumb. You don't have a Gyllenhaal film not in a theater. That's another thing that undermines the reason to go into a theater and what makes a person a star and not a star.
Well, because there's another level to this, Paul. What this is not just a remake for remake's sake. It's a UFC commercial built into a remake, is what it is. See, the UFC is actually co-producing or whatever this movie. And WWF did the same thing like a decade ago. And one of the first things they did was remake Leprechaun with the little wrestling dude. And all they did was stick him in a costume, and nobody could recognize it was him anyway. But
I hate leprechauns. They're just like their skin.
Well, I can understand why.
Yeah, but this thing has gotten almost 5 million views. Looks like it's going to be popular. These are two people who are very popular. Why wouldn't they put it in the theater? I don't get it.
Yeah, Hornswoggle. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you, Grand Admiral Adam. But yeah, we'll see how this rolls. I mean, there was a few bits in the trailer I kind of laughed at, but again, I was just kind of reminded of, I just want to go back and watch the original Roadhouse. That's what it kept making me think.
I've never been a fan of Jake.
Oh, script had to leave.
Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, you really?
Yeah, but I am now. He looks
Oh,
good.
because his shirt is off.
Yeah, he looks really good.
He does look very good.
And I don't think, hopefully, Script didn't have any super chats here. That was my fault.
Script is gone. He had to go.
Yeah, he had to check out. So I know Paul has, so you're not going anywhere.
He was said at the beginning of the show he might have to quick duck and run.
Yeah, he did. So
another 30 minutes, you have me.
All right, well, let's get through these super chats then. ActionCom sends in $5, says, speaking of AI, did you see AI time codes generated for Midnight's Edge? What did you think? I did not see that. Did you, Andre?
Time code?
Not yet, because I'm planning on doing a deep dive in making clips this video. I will let you know when I have the chance to look into them, because I'm so behind on clips right now. I can't push it anymore. So doing a deep dive, and then I'll let you know afterwards.
I saw them. I thought they were brilliant.
Oh, excellent. Glad to hear
really
it.
in depth. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could use AI
to do the clips for me.
You could use AI to actually get us to say something coherent.
That's true. You can get Paul to show up sober.
Way with editing.
Hey, how are you?
You're already drunk. You act like that all the time. See, you got a closet drinking problem.
Edge.
I thought everybody in Hollywood had a closet drinking problem.
I don't. I have a very low tolerance to alcohol.
I don't think I could see you as a drinker. Mars Monkey.
Lightweight.
Yeah. Mars Monkey Max sends in $5, says, I watched the first episode of He-Man before Culture Stream. The artwork was great, but the dialogue, terrible. Your take. Well, you got our take here. And that's the other thing I keep seeing everybody saying is that the dialogue is just wretched. For somebody like Kevin Smith, who's well known for his dialogue, that says a lot, doesn't it?
It goes to show how little he actually had to do with it, I think.
Or a little understanding he had of it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's just the lack of understanding. I don't think I'm really hard pressed to think if he even went back and watched any of them. He may have watched a handful of Filmation episodes or something.
A handful of Filmation and the movie, obviously, and that's pretty much it. He's not going to have seen, like, he's just going to look at the series Bible, and that's going to be his key reference. And beyond that, others are going to do the story. So he just makes notes and does rewriting in between. He's not one of the main creatives, I think.
Well, and I keep sending Andre stuff, so you may have a breakdown on some of this stuff here later.
Excellent.
Well, you know, all the stuff I've been sending you about BHLE.
Yeah,
Waltman 4 cents at $1.99 says, in short, 99% of the rumors of resolution are true, or revolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
They are.
Big Daddy
there's
MRI.
only one that needed some modification, but on the whole, they're all true.
Big Daddy MRI's been a member for 32 months. Thank you for that.
Wow.
We appreciate it. We got STR Red Wolf, who sends in $2. Says, Andre, see American Splendor. I think he has already.
I love American Splendor.
I think we brought it up before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
Terrific. Speaking of Giamatti.
What's his name? Harvey
Pecker.
Harvey Pecker, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great movie.
Amazing movie. I mean, that's how you do a comic book adaptation.
I think that's one of the only other times that that Paul Giamatti broached getting an Oscar. We were talking about that the other day.
But it was very much a movie of its time too, where you had the confluence of the 60s, and Robert Crumb was the right artist for Harvey Pecker's very intelligent comedy. I mean, unbelievably insightful writing.
That writing is amazing. I mean, you never get tired of writing his reading his stuff.
No,
it's really well written.
No, it's as if Steinbeck wrote comics.
Well, it's no Fritz the Cat, but yeah.
Fritz the Cat wasn't too bad.
Oh, I love Fritz the Cat. That's
I
love American
These
Splendor.
Are people with personal problems who are able to live cheaply. That's part of the problem too. Is we don't have, all our crazy people are living with their parents now because the housing is impossible. These people were able to live, eke out a living in New York because it was vaguely affordable in places. So, I mean, these, when you have a wretched little 1-room flat with a, with a, not a stovetop, but like a 2-thing burner. And it's just funny. These are great stories of their time by people, of the time. I mean, that's American Splendor is fabulous.
Yeah, it is.
Agreed. Absolutely. And then Wolfman Heart 79 sends in $1.99. Says, "Hey, all, just got my Conan 4K in the mail. You jerk! Where's mine?" I'm sitting here waiting. I've been like watching out the door. I'm like, it's got to be here sooner or later. Got to be here sooner or later. And then I've ordered it from 2 different places.
Shout?
No, it's an Arrow, actually. Thank God. But I ordered it from Diabolic DVD and Best Buy, and Best Buy is just sitting there waiting to be sent out. In fact, it will be the last thing I ever buy from Best Buy as far as media. So, because they are ending as of this next week. But yeah. Let's put it this way. It's already taken down from their website. Like, you can't order it anymore. So I ordered the 2-pack from Best Buy, and then I ordered the single editions from Diabolic DVD, just to see which one gets here first. And neither of them have got here yet.
Both of them?
I don't know. I'll probably gift the other one.
Oh.
I'll keep the 2 single editions, and then I'll probably gift the box set or sell it to my buddy, one of the 2. But just to see which one was going to get here first.
Well, you could play both discs at the same time on 2 DVDs on That's 2 right. TVs and see it in stereo.
Stereo vision.
See, I'm smart.
Or I could just hook 2 TVs up with a splitter to the same player.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Forget
it. No, but I know, Andre, you're probably drooling, waiting for this thing too, man.
Yeah, I can't wait for it.
Oh, because this is probably going to be one of the greatest special edition releases we've ever seen.
Judging
the only thing it's missing,
features, yes.
It's the only thing it's missing is an R-rated cut for Conan the Destroyer, but I wonder if they even have any of the footage to make
I
that
think
happen.
That may have been lost in the Universal Fire.
Well, I wonder if Dino didn't have all that shit. And here's the thing. I think he does not keep his movies in very good shape. Because I just watched Red Dragon the other night, and that negative is in not rough damage, but it's got some elements to it that looks like it wasn't stored properly.
You mean Manhunter? Or Red Dragon?
No. Red Dragon.
The 2002 Red Dragon.
Yes.
Okay.
Because Manhunter's not gotten a 4K release yet. Damn it. But yeah. And that one also has a real wretched Blu-ray because half of it's in standard definition. Because that's another one I'm like, I don't think they can make an R-rated or the unrated cut of Manhunter because I don't think they have all the extra footage.
No, exactly, because the director's cut, ever since DVD days, have been in two very visibly sets of quality.
Exactly. That's my point. So it's like up-converted Laserdisc rip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's watching TV in the background?
Not it.
Oh, that was me.
I figured it was you, Paul.
Sorry, I thought I'd muted. Sorry.
No, it's all good. But yeah, we get the 3 different versions of the first film, at least, Andre, though. That's one thing I know you were excited about.
Because 3?
Oh, yeah, you get the international cut, the US cut, and the director's cut.
Yeah. And the international cut and the director's cut are like 99% the same.
Where's my cut?
Barely any difference.
Well, your cut happened many years ago, Paul. Many years ago.
Did you get cut? I thought.
Yeah, I'm totally cut.
Chris?
Totally cut.
He's ripped. I was ripped yesterday all over the internet, I guess. Mihan is here and sends in 100 Swedish krona. Says, Yoo-hoo, big summer blowout, just finished watch 20 Days in Maripol. Heartbreakingly honest and must see like Schindler's List. P.S. When will the Piano Man versus Commies starring Jason Statham come? Piano Man versus Commies.
Is this a subtitle for Beekeeper Part 2?
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'd watch it. 20 Days in Maripol. I have to look that one up. I don't recall.
I've heard of it.
But yeah, I'll check it out. And but if you enjoyed it, then fantastic, and thanks for the recommendation. Shall put it to the list. Check it out. And then Pilgrim Media says for $5, cats will eat your liver with 5 beans and a nice Chianti. Yeah, indeed. Speaking of Dino De Laurentiis there, so yeah, that's good timing.
We got a Rumble rant from QLX81 for $2. If this stream had been any later, it'd be giving birth in October.
Whoa.
Oh, I didn't start that late.
No, we weren't that late. Come on, man.
We started at quarter after. That's kind of our MO.
Unfortunately, which is 10 minutes late, but could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
It's definitely been worse.
But invective is always appreciated. Funny invective.
And we appreciate the support.
And Mr. Tickle Trunk sends a Rumble rant for $2. Hope you rename today's stream to Old Men Yell at Cats.
Well, maybe we'll cut that segment and we'll call that.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Don't yell at your kitty. They don't know what that means. It just causes them to fear you.
Yeah, they'll notice the energy though.
Apple once sent me across Canada to promote some desktop publishing stuff, and the head of product marketing was with us, and he was from Spain. And we had Apple had a brand new feeder, and he would always, one of its main features was a cut sheet feeder. But because he couldn't say that, he had a very heavy Spanish accent. He would always say cat shit feeder. And we kept making fun of him. We were howling at the back of the hallway every time. And here we have the cat shit feeder. No, it's cat sheet feeder. So speaking of cats, see, I'm trying to keep the cat thing going.
Well, let's keep it going with this one from the Seaman for $10. Speaking of animals, whatever happened to the Disney live action animal movies? They can't be expensive to make, and I always thought they did okay box office.
No idea.
Well,
Crazy.
We're still getting the Lion King Part 2, aren't we? With like that spin-off thing, don't we? 6, I think we do.
Is that an animated, like 3D? Was that the continuation of
like
3D?
live action?
A prequel? Isn't it a prequel?
Or are you talking about like Robin Hood and stuff?
Well, there is a sequel featuring Scar.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's talking about probably the old animal features or stuff like Incredible Journey.
Yeah, probably stuff like that.
Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
I don't know. If
Honestly, I think that the people working at Disney today have no idea that they ever made movies like that. No, I'm serious.
That's what I was saying yesterday.
Institutional memory. When you fire enough people retire, and you replace them with activists and stuff, that kind of stuff tends to get forgotten.
That's what I was saying the other day. It's like they forgot that they had a live action film division that did more than remake their animated films.
Yeah.
They'll probably have a big creative executive meeting, and they'll say, hey, you guys, what about this? Let's make a movie with live action animals.
Wow.
It's brilliant. Never been done before.
And they'll have voices like Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
I got this great
That
idea.
would be Tom Holland, not Michael J. Fox, but yeah.
A Shaggy DA, where the person turns into a dog. What do you think?
Yeah, right. Maybe Tim Allen's not busy.
Oh, we're gonna revolutionize the industry.
I love it. I think
The
that's
closest
great.
thing they've gotten to it is they announced they're doing a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids sequel, and Rick Moranis is supposed to come back. But the whole movie's like The Force Awakens, where his son is looking for his dad, who shrinks himself down after the death of his wife. So Rick Moranis is basically a glorified cameo in it, while we got what's his face, who did the voice of Olaf in the Frozen movies. Who's that stupid actor? He was in the Beauty and the Beast reboot too.
That stand up.
Yeah, he's going to be playing the son. They're recasting the son. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the
Honey, I Shrunk Myself, or something like that is what it's supposed to be called. But yeah,
the two movies actually were pretty good.
The first two were great.
The first two were great.
Yeah.
I think that was a surprise hit. I don't think Disney expected it to be that big. But what a charming movie that was.
I wonder if it wasn't made just for the ride, or for like a thing at
maybe
Universal, or not Universal, at the park or whatever, and then it just became that popular. But yeah, because the movie was a big movie, and bigger than I think that you're right they expected it to be.
Oh yeah.
Joe Johnston directed that.
And well done too.
Yes, it was. And then we got Chris K here, who says, will Cameron return to the panel at some point, Andre?
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with recent predictions. Time will tell.
Yeah, Mr. Tickle Trunk sends in 5 and says, I never watched He-Man season 1 after episode 1 and 2. Would season 2 be worth my time? Well, I think the bigger question would you be lost having not watched the first season? Andre, what do you say to that?
I would say if you haven't seen anything so far, then wait until there's a season 3 that get fully caught up then. Because as it is, if that's all you've seen, you have so much bad He-Man still ahead of you before you get to anything good. And it's the good stuff enough to make up for the bad and frustrating stuff. I'd say no, it isn't. So just if you're not a huge fan, and you can't be that big a fan since you haven't, or that much into it since you haven't seen it yet, then you're perfectly fine continuing your current policy.
I suggest that you catch up on all the Clone Wars before you watch it.
I don't know if that'll help him, but
that's a very esoteric joke.
Show Me Comics sends in $2. That's a cool name. Says, does Script review comic plots script for hire? Yes, he does. I'm sorry I didn't get this when he was still here. He has a Patreon, and I'm sure one of our illustrious mods will share that link for you in the chat.
It is also in the description.
And it is in the description as well. And you can hook up with him there. And yeah, you can actually even correspond with him. He will review scripts for you. He will, there's all kinds of stuff. Of course, there's probably fees involved with certain things, but he does it for, I believe, a much cheaper rate, or let's say a much more valuable rate than you would say going to the mainstream industry, or whatever you want to call it. So
he does it for cat food.
Yeah, and if you sign up for a membership with his Patreon, you get discounts on those individual one-on-one sessions.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. But thank you, Six.
I'm a Patreon member of his, and the stuff is great, especially if you want to be a professional writer.
Yes, indeed. And then we got Cal Lyle here, who says that trilogy idea, Tom, they did in the CGI series. They had Snake Man, Hordak appeared, voiced by Conroy. My only problem with that CGI series is it was more like Power Rangers. It just, nothing about it appealed to me. And I'm not a big fan of CGI animation to begin with. And I hate the idea of taking He-Man, who's supposed to be the hero, and spreading his power among a group. That to me just didn't compute. Andre's having issues
I
evidently.
just had a slight internet hiccup.
Yeah, and I don't know if you ever checked out that CGI series, Andre, or not. It just didn't.
No,
it just
no,
wasn't my
I can't get into it. Like it's, and I don't have time. I don't have the inclination. I've heard that it's all in all good and respectful, to which I say, great, fantastic, glad to hear it. Hopefully it will be successful, introduce E-Man to a new generation that eventually down the line may check out some other stuff. If it does that, it'll have been a success. Beyond that, I hope that it'll be fine, but I'm not going to spend time on it. I don't have that time to spare.
Yeah. And then we've got Hollywood Apocalypse, who sends in 14 South African rand. So JJ contract, WB contract ends this year. Value for money. Well, they kind of ended it prematurely as it was last I heard. I mean, this is when, what, like a year ago now already, Andre? He was kind of allowed to take what they had worked on and sell it elsewhere if he could get it sold, and otherwise they weren't really making anything new, and he hasn't really developed anything new. So I mean, even though there's still the talk of his Superman, I think that thing's dead in the water.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if that thing now suddenly should get any traction when it hasn't so far. So everything I've heard suggests that they're not too happy with JJ, feel that they haven't gotten their money's worth. Of course, they haven't really paid him anything. Well, I'm sure they paid him some, but it certainly hasn't led to
just
anything.
For the work done. But yeah,
and I hope it continues that way. That they're going to be like, like this ain't working. Just let him go, because his name attached is always a red flag, unless he has found a way to con himself into something without necessarily being involved in any kind of way. Like, for instance, Constantine 2, he has found a way to con himself to getting a producer credit, but he's not going to have anything to do with the movie if it ends up being made.
Yeah, that's getting less likely.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then we got Anthony Deandra, who sends in 5 Canadian, says, Mr. Chato, what is old is new. Years ago, they made a commercial where they used an image of Fred Astaire to sell a vacuum. The estate fought it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I don't know whether they won or not. I'm trying to recall. I believe they did.
I don't remember the estate fighting it. I thought they got paid a pretty penny for it, though.
I think they didn't. I think they used Fred without permission.
Maybe they did, but I don't remember. I know that was on around the same time as Forrest Gump and all that stuff. Yeah.
You can't do that without permission.
Master Clockwork sends in 10 and says, so far there have been no rulings that the use of copyright content to train AI constitutes an infringement. However, that what is produced falls under fair use and is original content. Well, here's the problem with that, though, is when you start profiting off of something that is built upon somebody else's, like with George Carlin, for instance, using him to sell whatever it is you just made, I think is, even though they're not selling it out like in a store for cash in hand, it's still on YouTube where it's generating revenue, and they're billing it as, a new AI George Carlin special, regardless if the AI is in front of it or not.
And here's the simple test. Here's the very simple test. Would you have watched it if it had no connection to George Carlin? There's your test.
And that's what's going to, I think, win the family's case at the end of the day.
The answer is no.
Yeah. So
that's the case.
So it's going to be, I think in the next couple of years, we're going to have a lot of, it'll take a few lawsuits to kind of sort this shit out.
Luckily, the United States is not a very litigious.
No.
We have hardly any lawyers either.
None. I don't think we even know one.
Yeah, I couldn't name three off the top of my head.
Yeah. John Doe is here and been a member for a month. Well, thank you, John Doe. Said Roadhouse is the most pro-gun movie I've ever seen in my life. Because Patrick Swayze never uses a gun, but guns solve everything. That's an interesting film. Jeff C sends in 5 and says MOTU Revolutions is out. Did Andre get I'm gonna fuck this up. Grotefil. How do you say that, Andre? It's close. Grotefil.
Yeah, that was pretty close.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. No, because I mean, I needed that after Revelation, but I was kind of like prepped, and if anything, I'm not going to say I was pleasantly surprised, because there were so many dumb things, but I wasn't horrified, because I went and braced for this going to be so bad, and I was like, it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as feared. So yeah, no need for any grift to villain. Like, I'll do like one shot of the Ackroyd skull vodka and be like, oh, I missed a bullet with that one. I'm going to save the Griftepill for a later time. When I come back to Norway, I'll do it then.
I don't like this abbreviation MOTU, because that's also the name of a music interface.
I know, it's very frustrating to Google.
Yeah, because probably MOTU is going to be much bigger with the music interface.
Well, what's worse is I've been watching the Godzilla films over the last week, the newer ones, and they refer to the one creatures as mutos. So, like, whenever I'm trying to talk about MOTU, I'll end up saying muto. So, yeah, it's just... It's fucking He-Man.
Oh, yeah. God, we have such difficult lives.
Damn you, first world problems.
I'll say.
And then this one's for you, Paul. Even though script isn't here, I apologize. Just Nova.
That's okay. Script knows nothing.
Paul, I think the studios will eventually create their own actor as they ask for more money. Is this possible, and will it be cheaper?
Yeah, that is going to be interesting, where they make synthetic actors. That they will be able to do, and be able to
George Lucas was already threatening them back in the prequel days.
Yeah, and Japan has already cranked out a whole bunch of scary virtual, mostly girls.
So I remember him saying shit like, one of these days I won't even have to deal with actors.
Well, no, there's some independent producer is going to do it. That's going to happen.
Oh yeah, well, as I've said, I didn't predict like this George Carlin or the Taylor Swift business. My thing is I figured that the AI thing was going to come to a head when some kid turned around and redid all of the Star Wars sequels with AI and made them better, and it would go viral. Then only then would Hollywood take note, because they're like, oh shit, they're encroaching on us and they're doing it better than us.
But it's like YouTube too, where you are always going to be better off making something original with an IP that you own. All this.
No, I agree with you, Paul. That's not my point,
we're not
though.
disagreeing. I know that. So,
yeah.
But my point is, the future is going to be people going to, maybe get some friends to do the voiceovers, but creating.
You won't have to with AI.
Pardon me?
You won't have to with AI.
No, there's that too. Yes. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Some kid in their basement is going to remake all the Star Wars movies, and I get what you're saying. I prefer, like I said,
they don't need to. They can come up with their completely own.
They
IP.
could, but what we're getting to is a point where it'll get where Hollywood has to worry because of the things I just said, and also you could turn around and go, "Okay, computer, I want to see myself in the starring role of Highlander as Connor MacLeod. Go," and you'll be able to have that instantly. Where then from there on, I'll be able to watch the entire film Highlander with me in the role of Connor MacLeod. Yeah, that's the point where we're getting to this like literal self-insert at this point. But yeah,
but who wants to watch that? No offense, but
nobody. But there's some people who are egotistical.
Just because it can be done doesn't mean that it's going to take over the industry and people are going to flock to it.
It will worry people, though.
I think it'll worry them needlessly.
That's an interesting point. I would say that could work, actually. If the studio actually set it up in a way that says, hey, use this movie and replace these actors. You have the option of replacing these actors with yourself and giving you the tools to do it, so you could watch it, let's say, live. It's done only live, right? It's you can't generate it and then make a disc or something
No,
from
no,
it.
no. It's just
But
in
if
your
you
own
grab a
personal
bunch
home.
of friends together and it's generated over the internet, real time, and you got a bunch of partiers, and all 5 of you, you're drunk and you're watching yourselves in some movie like I don't know,
Ghostbusters,
Dirty Dancing, Ghostbusters, or whatever. I guarantee you that people will do it.
I think that's a possibility someday, and I know you.
It'll be like karaoke. It'll be
yes,
movie
Okay, but
karaoke.
has karaoke taken over people going to live concerts?
No, but here's the difference.
It'll be an adjunct.
It'll be adjunct to it.
I don't think anybody who's in the musical performance industry is worried about people doing karaoke.
Well, here's the difference.
I think if it's taking any of their money away.
Let me say this though. Here's the difference. Musicians are still popular. There's not most of these young kids nowadays don't really have any inception of what a real movie star is, right? Like they don't go to see a movie because a movie star's in it, except for Timothée Chalamet. Like that's the closest thing they have, right? Like so, like to them, they are the self-insert generation, man. Like that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
they would love to do that.
Yeah, and so here's my example. I don't know who owns Mean Girls, but
Paramount, but yeah.
So Paramount says, on your TV right now, on Paramount Plus, you're going to have a Mean Girls party. Upload a bunch of stills. Let's say we need 5 stills or whatever to do this trickery. Upload it, and then in real time using AI, the voices stay the same as the original actors. But now you've got yourselves in this movie. I guarantee you they would love doing that for a party night.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the future. I do.
I mean, it's another product. It's an ancillary product. But I can see that being hugely popular. Watch you guys are way too young to have seen slideshows of vacation slideshows. But I know from experience that when you're going through the drudgery of clicking through slideshows, and then you got friends in the room, and suddenly they show up in their bathing suits, jumping into pools and things like that. Suddenly, oh yeah, they're going, yeah, look at that, look at what Tommy did. Wow, I mean, people love seeing themselves.
Oh
yeah, well, that's a memory. That's nostalgia. That's having an emotional connection.
But I also Six. Also, look at the video game industry right now. Right? Like, what's the big controversy? Yeah. Is every gamer wants to be able to put themselves in the game as they are in the real world.
Optionally. They don't always do that.
Right? Not everybody, but that's like the big. But that's the big argument right now, right? So that's my point.
That you can do this now. Now you can put yourself how fat and disgusting you are into the game and be all kinds of entitled like that.
There are people who want to see that, though, Andre. That's my fucking point. Look, Six. I'm with you.
Right there.
I'd rather see a movie star in a movie, right? But we're of nearly the same generation. This upcoming generation, like I'm saying, they are a different kind of kid. They're a different kind of person. Like my kid is one of that same way too. 9 times out of 10, he'd just self-insert himself into stuff, and he's not even as bad as some of these other kids are. But anyway, that's my
prediction. I am predicting it now.
I think you're not far off there, Paul. But he ramped that off of mine. I want some credit, damn
it. No, but I made it correct and proper and good.
Chuck. So I'm like God, and you're like Jesus. Get over it. Chuck Henry's.
Jesus existed
until both of you are right. I'm right.
See, Jesus made it good though. See, God was just smite-likey.
God's a theory.
Like, he was just all like mean and shit. And then his son was like, "No, we gotta save the people, Dad." Anyway, Chuck Henry's been a member for 15 months. Thank you for that. We appreciate that, Chuck Henry. Chuck,
say hi to your dad, Buck.
Name. Yeah, Buck. Big Daddy MRI sending in a very generous super sticker. Holy crap!
Wow,
$19.99.
$19.99. $20.
Partying like it's $19.99.
Yeah, partying like it's $19.99. Yeah,
it's a pear character dancing under a rain of confetti and taking his hat off to say, "You are amazing."
Thank you, Six.
How do you get the balloons back? I can't remember what hand thing is.
I don't know what you did. Thumbs up, I think it was.
No, thumbs up are
that's so cool.
Put number 1 like you're number 1. See what happens. No, nothing. Just 1, not 2 of them. I don't remember what you used to do.
Oh, confetti.
There it is.
Okay,
It's
there's
a confetti.
Okay.
Confetti is that. Okay.
I don't remember what you used to do the balloons. I know. Maybe just wave your hands around. Something like that. I can't remember what it was because he used to do it right when you would first
That
come
didn't
in.
work.
It was when you first come in sometimes.
I know. I did it by accident. I can't remember what I did.
I can't remember what it was either.
Confetti we got. So
Has anyone noticed the background on the screen behind us?
I change it from time to time.
The beautiful clouds.
Yeah, I like that.
I love
this
it.
This is very calming.
Yeah.
D-Bun's been here for 33 months. He's also a wrench. Thank you for that. Tony Edwards is here and sends in 5 and says, honestly, the only comic book movie I'm looking forward to this year is Kraven the Hunter. Thoughts?
Without Spider-Man.
I don't know. Yeah.
You know what? I don't blame you. I do not blame you at all, because who's excited for Madam Web?
Woo!
There's plenty things to be worried about. And beyond those two, what else is there? Then Kraven kind of wins by default. What is that?
True.
Then it's like Venom 3. But Venom 2 sucked. So the unknown property that has the potential to surprise is actually Kraven.
I liked the Kraven versus the guy. Paul, don't even talk until you remember the names. Wolverine.
I mean,
Kraven versus Wolverine were good comics.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Is it Kraven? No. A guy
Kraven
who looks like
the Hunter. The guy who the leotard trouser that wants to shoot big game.
Okay, never mind. No, I'm confusing him with another guy with fur on his shoulders and big guy.
Sabretooth.
Yes.
Sabretooth.
That's who you're talking about.
Wolverine versus Sabretooth were great. Sorry, this is where my old brain goes.
Yeah. I don't blame you though, because in the comics, Kraven also has like fur on him, but different character.
I know Kraven. I can picture him now. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so Tony, don't blame you. That's a choice that kind of wins by default. Don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, Kraven could be decent. I mean, of all the ones, I mean, I guess, but I mean, you could probably tell a story without having Spider-Man and make it interesting, I suppose. But what are you going to have him hunting, I guess? That's the question.
Right.
Madam Web?
Pass. I don't need to see a guy desperate for a date.
Kraven the Hunter, the roadkill cooking movie.
You can look in the mirror.
The only thing, I guess the only other thing comic book wise I'm really looking forward to, I guess, is Deadpool, but I'm still leery about it.
Of course, we should be leery.
Of course, we should be. Yeah.
Totally agree.
We'll see though. But yeah, hopefully for you, Kraven is fun, Tony. It could very well be. I mean, hell, Venom surprised a lot of people. So
Venom
we could
blew me away. The first
we could be surprised.
The second one, not so much.
Just watching Mask of Zorro, I don't think they'd be able to. Disney would let them get away with the level of violence.
Oh, they couldn't make that movie today
because there was, people being run through with swords, and Disney would never. But the movie
PG-13 was different back then. Yeah.
Pardon me?
So PG-13 was different back then too. But
still, philosophically, they would never let you raise that level of violence, and the movie needed it.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned that, because there's supposedly this rumor going around about this memo that Kevin Feige put out about the do's and don'ts of Marvel, and a big portion of it was violence, and it was aimed towards the Daredevil / Punisher people that are working on that stuff. So I don't know the logistics of it all, but it sounds like there's certain rules they can and cannot do. I don't remember what I didn't really get to read it all, but I'm sure you can't be doing any beheadings and dismemberments and things like that. I'm sure certain stupid rules like there was for Lucasfilm.
Ridiculous.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up again. If somebody wants to send it to me or anything like that, please do. But
no hitting women of indeterminate.
I don't have time to look it up right now, though. Unfortunately,
he did.
Speaking of Zorro, after this stream, this stream actually redirects to the Midnight Edge Zorro stream, where they
Yes,
will be reviewing the finale of the brand new Spanish language sort of
which
series,
we can't.
which
It
is on
looks
Amazon
great.
and also dubbed right there. I haven't had the time to see it yet, unfortunately. It looks
I've heard-
fantastic. Yeah.
I was gonna say I've heard some things about it. Might be all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got Tommy Reviews here who sends in 5 and says, I got the Conan dual pack from Barnes & Noble on the 50% Arrow sale. Also got the 1994 Frankenstein, which pairs great with Dracula, Haleman, et cetera. How did Barnes & Nobles get their Conan already?
Is this the 4K or is this the old Blu-ray?
Yeah, I was going to say, you sure you didn't accidentally pick up the old Blu-ray? They might have got, because here's the thing, people have been getting it, but then I got a thing from Arrow saying it was going to be delayed. Because it was
I actually got that
from,
too, but I'm in Norway, so never mind.
Yeah,
Well,
so it was supposed to be out. It's supposed to be out next Tuesday, but now it's going to be out. I think it's the February 3rd or something like that. I can't remember now, but
A lot of cinephiles say that the Blu-ray looks better than 4K.
That depends very much on the release and the processing. I can almost guarantee you that in the case of Conan, the 4K is going to look 1,000,000 times better than the Blu-ray.
Okay.
Because on the Blu-ray they mucked up the picture.
Well, that's a different issue.
Audio,
well, not just that. Most Blu-rays aren't even from the negative. Like at least with these 4K remasters, as Andre's saying, I'll come back around to that. Like they're going back to the negative 9 times out of 10, if not 9.999 times out of 10. The difference is though, is if they fuck something up in the process. Like for instance, when I was griping about American Graffiti, because George just plastered it with DNR so everybody looks like plastic, and
this
just kind of pulled out all the resolution.
Well.
Yeah. James Cameron is rumored to have done the same thing with the upcoming 3 films: Abyss, True Lies,
he
and
has.
Aliens.
He has.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen the Blu-rays yet to see if it's the same on the Blu-rays as it is on the.
I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Well, there's some people saying that they have 2 different masters, one for streaming and one for the Blu-rays. So we'll see.
Okay, that's interesting. So there's still hope yet then, because
maybe
the one for that's for streaming, that was. I'm going to stick with the DVD with the Blu-ray for all of them.
Well, the sad part about True Lies is True Lies never got a Blu-ray release before,
other than in Spain,
and I don't think that was actually legit.
I don't know, but
because all those ones that were going around were either from the old that VHS HD that came out for a while there that didn't last, and that was only in 1080i, and then there was broadcast from HDNet that people had ripped, so it was like 720p up to converted to 1080i.
I have to go and check, but whatever it is, it looks better than the 4K one.
It may,
yeah.
Anyway, we got a few more super chats here to go through, but thank you, Tommy Reviews, for that. Nicholas Horton says, Hail, I thought they could use Princess Adora because of the rights, because Desperia appears at the end with £5.
They couldn't before, but that's like the thing. If the right deals are made and the right licensing and the right money changes hands, then they can. Because this is kind of like the thing. There's always a way if there's a will. Mostly the will to pay.
Yeah, that's just it. Before they didn't want to spend the money.
Yeah. So that's like when it's split up between different companies. But if it's a non-exclusive agreement and someone is willing to pay for both, like for instance, say that Netflix shelled out for He-Man and for She-Ra, nothing prevents them from going together. Nothing at all. Just because they are, like for instance, the one way they're completely separate is if a company buys up the rights to one, but not both, then they're completely separate when that happens.
Well, and the other thing before was they had She-Ra was already licensed out to DreamWorks through their DreamWorks licensed it out to Netflix already through a different license for the cartoon. Now, that was kind of what I was implying earlier, is if they are able to bring She-Ra into this might mean that Amazon show is not happening. Because I don't think that they would allow them to cross them over if they had another She-Ra going on at the same time, was my point.
But also, Amazon are the ones that were in talks. Maybe it already happened without being announced. But Amazon were the ones in talks to take over the He-Man movie. So who knows what the hell kind of deals have been signed behind the scenes?
Exactly. I think that's the case here. I think we're at a point where I think this is the last bit of what do you want to call it? Like, this is the last hurrah for He-Man on Netflix. Like, if it had been a huge hit, maybe, but I think Netflix already knew the writing was on the wall, and I think this was already
Definitely. If Revelation was a huge hit, they would not have let the movie go. They would have found a way to make it work. But when they look at the data of Revelations, they're going to be like, yeah, we're not spending more money on this.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but
That
I'll
was
watch
their
it this
revelation.
weekend. Yeah, I'll watch it this weekend. Paranoid Android is in the house and been a member for 13 months, says the incredible Dr. P. Owl. Paul?
Dr. Paul, P-O-L, he used to have a show on Animal Planet.
Oh.
Very controversial substandard of care veterinarian.
Oh, yeah. I see. Action Com sends in 5 and says Wednesday's Midnight's Edge episodes. Someone put their AI generated time codes next to mine. I demand Midnight's Edge give me exclusivity in writing time codes or I'll strike. Well, you already have it.
It's yours.
The other ones are unofficial.
Yeah. They're unofficially fan-made. The official Midnight's Edge time codes, the one that's going to go into the official episode description, is from ActionCom Now and Forever. I mean, we even have it permanently.
TM.
Even have it permanently in the description. Time codes by ActionCom.
Yeah, I'm not even in the description, but ActionCom is.
Yeah.
Well, get her in there as producer.
Well, we'll put her.
We'll
Put your address in so people can dox you.
I even give her credit on the Top 5 show when she doesn't even show up.
I know. I'm going to be there this Sunday. It's going to be. Did you? Oh, well, wait till the end because Paul has to go.
Yeah, we got to get through these, and I think he has.
And I need to go.
Is there one or two more that are for him here? I think, or are we all through those already?
I think we got all for him.
Yeah, if you have to run, you can now. Otherwise, all right. Well, we love you, Paul.
Thank you. Love you guys too.
Plug something cool.
Plug something cool.
Nothing today. I have nothing. I've decided four videos for the week was enough, and that's it. I'm just on the.
In other words, I'm not getting a TV guide.
It's actually I'm writing it. That's what's taking.
Finally.
Dun dun dun. Ooh, fall preview.
Yep.
It's a thick issue.
Yes, it's a fat one. Look at that thing.
Yeah, it is. Look at that.
It's a fatty. So yep. it's going to
That's
happen.
what they say about me.
Thank you for having me on. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, Paul.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Paul. Have a good weekend. All right. So let's keep moving along here. We got DCB Titan who sends in 5. Canadian, eh? Says, is the new one Honey, I Shrunk the Box Office? Oh, starring Bob Iger alongside Kathleen Kennedy.
That's a good one.
That'd be a good one. Packing Protons is in the house. How you doing, buddy? Says, question for $4.99. I've always had about the shows and sign off. How did Koalas in the Ring come about? Fun sign off. Okay. Now you're probably the dozenth or more person to ask this, but I stole it from Comics Division. And he got it from, I can't remember the name of the channel. It's like Zooropa or something like that. It's this fun animal channel. It's this guy who does like nature videos like we were just talking about, but he also does songs and stuff, but it's always comedy based, if that makes sense. Some fun stuff. I'm trying to think. So the guys in the chat, somebody will get the name. I can't think of what it is offhand. It's something. Zoo's in the title. That's all I remember. Funny channel. I got it. I'm subscribed to it, but I just can't think of the name. But yeah, that's really where it came from. And I stole it from him, and he's like, God damn it, now I can't keep using it. Like, yeah, that's right. I stole it. Yeah. Somebody will bring it up here in the chat. We'll keep moving along, and when it pops up, I'll bring it up. We got Mr. TT in the house on the Rumble side of things. Says it's not the kids today don't have stars; they have YouTube stars, and not movie stars. Everyone who is in Five Nights, everyone who's in Five Nights at Freddy's lost their mind at the Five Nights at Freddy's streamer that was in the movie. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're influencers.
Yeah, you're right. That's an excellent point, Mr. Chuckle Trunk. They would, if they put some of these Instagram influencers in movies, then they'd be all over that. So, yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, Roadhouse with PewDiePie would be a hit.
And Five Nights at Freddy's was amazing. I loved it.
I'm glad you liked it. I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, and thank you, me and my monkey, Zamboomafu. That's how Zambumafu. Yeah, that's what it's on. That's where I stole it. And they are nice enough not to claim us every episode. So thank you, Zabumafu. Bucky Cat sends in a member chat for 10 months. Thank you for that, Bucky Cat. And Jesus Davila sending in a super sticker. I bet you it's a thumbs up.
It is.
It is indeed. Thank you for that. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. We appreciate that here at the channel. We got a Tipping Barn here who says, is there a lazier title for a movie than Revolution? You know, honestly, if
they want a revolution, well, you know.
Well, Resurrection.
Resurrection, yeah. Speaking of Resurrection, hello, Paul.
Hey, what's going on?
Aye. What's with the glasses?
I have old man eyes.
I was gonna say you come in as like Mr. Pauly. It's like, hello, children. Welcome
Hello,
to the
everyone.
show.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo está ustedes?
We're going to learn some Spanish words today.
Vamos a hablar, a watchar, la hueva héroe se llama Zorro.
Yeah, Zorro.
Oh, that's kind of funny, like a phonetic comedy.
No, but I was just gonna say though to answer Tipping Barn here. Thank you for popping in, Pauly. But
yeah,
if Andre and I had gotten this show, I could work with those titles. I could even work with the plot. Neither one of those things are the problem. The problem are the people making the show and their hubris and what they think the show is about and what they think the characters are. Because you got Ted Biacelli bringing his personal bullshit to the table. And you got Kevin Smith, who's not a fan, so he doesn't sit there and go, well, that's not how it was. So you don't have anybody to fight back. He's just going, that's great, Ted. That's great, Ted. That's great, Ted. That's the problem with this show right now. So I hope this is the end. I hope you guys are right, because I think you're right. I haven't heard anything about a season 2, part 2.
Oh, no, there isn't one. Yeah, it's season 3 or nothing, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
So I don't think even the title is a problem, but I get what you're saying, Tipping Barn. I'm not going to disagree with you. Chaos Sonic 1 sends in $1 on the Rumble side and says, this is my opinion on Revolution. The damage is done and people are still mad, especially since Kevin Smith and Netflix lied for the first one, so they get what they deserve. As the Joker says, I agree with you, Chaos Sonic. Indeed, this is kind of where I'm at. It's like, why should I make the time in my schedule to even bother giving him a second chance now?
Which show is this?
Revolution.
Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Revolution.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Has he ever addressed the fact that he lied?
Yes. He just blows it off.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a few things out there because Kevin Smith don't know how to keep his mouth shut.
He doesn't care. They don't care.
He talks a lot.
See, and that's what I used to love about Kevin.
Is
that he was the guy that he just didn't give a shit. He would just say whatever. So 9 times out of 10, you knew if he was saying it, it was probably true.
Well, he was you back in the day.
Yeah. Like,
you're him now. You know what I mean by that.
Well, here's the thing. Here's a great example.
Like
if it wasn't for him, we would have never, ever got Superman Lives documentary from Schnepp. Because it was Kevin Smith going out and basically telling people that John Peters was a complete fucking wackadoo.
But his takes were always so sharp and on point.
Well, that's the way he presented it, right? He presented it in a way that was like stand-up almost.
But I think all our guys are like that now, man. They're just, except for Tarantino, they're just goobers now. They're just like zombies of themselves now. They're just putting out garbage. They have, they now have their brand, which is their name, and that's it. That's what you were talking about earlier. It's like, you probably didn't even care who wrote it. Just put his name on it.
Yeah, but that's my point, though, is back then he'd kind of be our, fly on the wall kind of point of view of Hollywood, because he was just a regular Joe back then. And I've said this before. I think the time he changed is when he moved out to LA for his wife. And I think you brought the same thing up in the chat.
Yeah.
Because his wife used to be a journalist. And when they got married, she moved out to Jersey because that's where his home base was. He was not an LA guy. But she kept griping and pissing and moaning that she wanted to get back out to LA. So AKA her real boyfriend.
Bro, it's so weird, man.
And ever since they went back out to LA, and that was right before he had the heart attack and everything. And that's when everything kind of changed. And his kid got wrapped up into LA culture. And yeah,
he's always been very pro feminist, and her acting career never took off. Besides the stuff that he's casted her in. But Jersey people are cut from a different cloth, man, and he lost it. He was always on point. It was just so funny when he remember when he subbed in for Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, I almost half-assed hoped he was going to get the spot.
Right, because it was so good.
Because it would have been like one of us being on the show.
Right.
Like that's the way I felt at that time. But now he's so removed from us and disassociated with us that it's just sad. But anyway, Tommy Reviews. Mm-hmm. Yeah, plus he blocked me on Twitter and YouTube. Tommy Reviews sends in $2. Says, I got the 4K dual pack and it was pre-ordered. So what you're telling me is I should buy my movies from Barnes and Noble.
They have some great sales.
So I think he actually got it, Andre. He's probably, Shadow Dancer the Red.
Good for you.
Shadow Dancer the Red Mage has been a member for 16 months. Wow, thank you. Says, I hope Abyss was abundant.
Oh, sorry.
What'd you say, Andre?
No, that was in playback in someone else's.
That was me by accident.
Okay, sorry about that, Andre. I hope the Abyss has abundant behind-the-scenes material. I wear a titanium wedding band because of that movie. I want to know about the liquid breathing fluorocarbon apparatus. The rat scene was true. Okay, well, here's what I know. They probably will carry over whatever was on the Blu-rays previously. I'm sure Cameron will throw on a few new goodies. And actually, I heard Bill Hunt caught an issue with the Blu-ray on the director's cut, and they fixed it. Because I guess they mucked up a couple lines. So I do know that he's at least seen preview copies because he clued them into something they screwed up. It's been screwed up since the original director's cut was released, I guess, on disc. So yeah. But anyway, fingers crossed that the Blu-rays look a lot better than the digital versions. That's all I've got to say. Because I haven't even peeped the digital versions. I've seen screenshots and a few clips, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good on that. I'm not spending that kind of money just to buy them all over again. But on that note, Andre, what do you say we get the hell out of here unless there was something else you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, well, I know that Paulie has a stream upcoming here. Maybe that's
what I was figuring. Yeah.
Talk about.
Yeah. So I'm going to be joined with Lily 300 Mirrors and Fletcher Williams. Those guys are the new faces of Midnight's Edge Espanol. They're doing shorts every day, doing great videos. I think I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing every Friday after you guys for an hour. But this particular live is really cool because what we've done since last week for you guys is that we watched the entire season except for episode 10 of the new Zorro. We're going to watch episode 10 of the new Zorro with you guys right now. I have the Amazon Prime watch party ready. So if you don't have it, you can come and join us through my account and we're going to watch it and then we're going to review it. We will be doing it bilingually. So for you guys, you're doing it
bilingually.
yes. It's I'm bilingual, bicultural, but now, anyways, I don't want to go.
It's a lot of buys. He's all the buys except for the main one.
We used to say single, bilingual, and ready to mingle.
Ooh. So there you go. So I've been hearing interesting things about this. So you're liking the show so far?
For the most part, I'm really liking the show. Their modern agenda did creep in a little bit. So it didn't ruin it for me. And for me to say that, maybe it's worse for other viewers. But Zorro's Zorro. So we got that. And we'll see how it ends. There's some fantastic actors in this, and what I do like about it is the whole 10 episodes. It's just 3 directors. It's the same 3 directors, and these guys are kicking ass. Again, there's this one character with the modern women agenda. Like there's just no way that would happen in the 1830s California. Absolutely not. But does it ruin it? It took me out for a minute, but I got back into the episode. It definitely doesn't ruin the series for me. I'm actually surprised how entertaining it is.
Cool. All right, we'll check in with those guys right after the show here. And we got another $4.99 super chat from Tenaru. Says Kevin Smith on weed is like James Hetfield off the booze. I think you mean off the weed, Tenaru, because he quit now. Before he used to smoke constantly. Both can't write themselves out of a paper bag. Keep up with the work, gentlemen. Because previous to this, he was, but after the heart attack, after a little bit, he quit smoking.
Well,
So
it's like booze, blow, and weed. It works for some creatives. It doesn't work for others. So it doesn't even matter,
Well, and he used to use it two different ways. See, because when he first started smoking it, he would use it as a reward, right? Like he would write for X amount of hours, and then as soon as he was done, that's when he would reward himself with it. And then he realized he could write, and some of the stuff he could do still on it, so he started smoking it all the time. Wow. And I mean, it didn't really change his writing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if anything, it made some of it funnier. Like I'm sure Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was completely written blitzed. Like you cannot come up with shit like that straight.
Nope. But it takes a certain type of creative to
be able to handle it too. Yeah. And then at the same time, I mean,
because you can have those ideas when you're high as a kite, but then to write them down or to make any sense of them, that's hats off.
But he used to have sharp dialogue.
Yeah, to be able to read it the next day and understand it.
Yeah.
Correct.
He always had the sharp dialogue, and now ever since then, in the last few years, his dialogue has gone. Now I haven't seen Clerks 3, and most people didn't like it. So to me, that's just indicative of what he has become, right? Yeah. I mean, you go through Clerks 2, and there's some great fucking dialogue scenes in that, especially when he goes on the Lord of the Rings thing with Randall. Right?
Funny.
Even the fucking trees walk in that movie.
Right. I mean, what's the last good Kevin Smith was there?
I didn't hate Reboot, but I bet you if I watched it now, I wouldn't like it as much. Because that's when he even presents himself in the movie when he plays himself as this asshole LA director. So I'm starting to wonder if he was trying to tell us something then.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Sonic times 2 cents and $2 says, Andre, were Conan and Red Sonja ever an item? This was a question you actually answered the other day, wasn't it?
No, they were never an item. It was always like a mutual flirt, but they were never an item.
Yeah, Conan was always he liked to be free and fancy free.
No.
Conan, yeah.
Although they kind of set it up in the movie that way.
They did set it up in the movie. That was the only place. That kind of was like against the character a little bit, but that's the only place. Like in the comics, they were flirting and stuff, and Conan definitely saw her naked a number of times, but they never went all the way and did it.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about the fact that she says that only a man who could beat me is a man who can bed me or whatever it was. Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. And Conan never beat her in any way.
Well, that's you know what? Any of the Zorro talk, come and join us because there's plenty. Me and Lily and Fletcher have plenty to discuss, and we will be doing this for you guys bilingually, so it's not going to be all in Spanish, all in bilinguaje.
Ooh, that almost sounds like dangerous.
Bilinguaje?
Yeah, it sounds like Indian too, or like native. Sorry.
It's a little. I mean, when you conjugate it like that, it's like almost a little.
I hear a lot of words like that where I
a little Middle Eastern, like ojalá,
kind of.
So it's a little.
I meant more Native American, but yeah.
Well, it comes from when Spain was under Muslim controls for like 800 years.
That's why,
language, yeah.
Correct. You hear that? It's in Spanish.
All right. Well, with that, as Andre says,
with that,
we'll see at the watch party.
Want to promote Sunday night?
Oh yeah, we've got our top 5 list on Sunday night. Don't forget that. Our special guest is going to be George, the Giant Slayer, where he picked to talk about our top 5 favorite Jean Reno movies. So that is the topic on Sunday top 5 shit list.
9 o'clock
George
Eastern.
will be there. 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Yes, Milwaukee scene from Williams.
Milwaukee.
It's very accurate, actually. believe it or not. Like everything around here is named after something Indian, right? We got Wanawak, Kickapoo,
Everything.
yeah,
Everything.
yeah. There was a tribe called the
There's
Kickapoo.
Yeah. Go who?
Yeah, so that is just not something that Jack Black made up. Anyway,
All right,
thank
we'll
you,
see you at the
kids.
watch
It
party.
is time for what, Andre?
It is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given, koalas in the rain.
I'll be hanging out on Echo Base, I believe.
No fucks given.